Hello everybody and welcome to my review of every single champion in League. Will they make it into League of Legends 2.0? The outline of this video, the way I'm going to describe it, is I'm going to look through every single champion in League, and I'm going to make the judgment call, will they make it into League of Legends 2.0? The assumption on this is that only somewhere around 60 to 70 champions, so half or less of the roster, will make it into League 2.0. I don't have any actual reason for that, I just think that that's a good metric to do. Now, I'm going to base whether a champion would make it into League of Legends 2.0 based on how popular they are, based on how much Riot likes them, and then my own judgment call, is their kit up to date, is it fun, and should they be in League of Legends 2.0? So I'm going to be going through every single champion. This is going to be a 125,000 viewer or subscriber mega video of Doom. I don't care how long this is, we're just going through it all in one giant take. So here we go. Now, I've been playing this game for 12 years since it launched out of beta. I think on the first week or the first day it launched out of beta, I didn't play in the beta, but I played after it. So I've got 13 years now of experience playing with all these champions. So I have a general good idea if Riot likes a champion based on how many times they get patched. I do weekly patch videos. I just have a really good, in my opinion, I have a really good view on a lot of this stuff. So here we go. The first champion is Aatrox. Will Aatrox make it into League of Legends 2.0? Now, I might be a little bit biased because I do play a lot of Aatrox, but I think Aatrox's kit is very up to date. It was recently reworked. Despite the rework having some flaws at first, it received another mini rework. A lot of people like this kit. He's now one of the most popular champions actually in the game. If we go to all ranks, we can see that Aatrox is number 14, so he remains a decent amount popular at all ranks. If you go to Plat Plus, which is where the more hardcore players start to play, you can see he's the third highest picked top laner. This champion remains very popular. He hasn't really dipped out of the top 10 pick rate in a while. If he does dip out of the top 10 pick rate, he typically gets adjusted or put back into the top 10 pick rate. That means that the player base likes playing this champion. Riot likes this champion being playable. His kit is up to date. His subreddit is pretty popular. His ability kit has no real issues with it. I actually don't see any reason Aatrox would not make it into League of Legends 2.0. Now, this is how I'm going to be tracking it. I'm just going to make a giant list here, and yeah, that's going to be it. This video will take a while, but I promise you we're going to go through every single champion. I'm going to tell you all about every single champion. Ahri has a lot of porn, and she is very popular. That honestly, she's like one of, I mean, I don't really have anything to say. She is a lot of porn of her, and she's just very popular. There's just, everyone plays Ahri. There's just no reason to have her in the game. Riot even makes softcore porn of her at this point. She even received an ability rework recently where they revamped her abilities and stuff like that. So she's been in lots of patches. She's been touched all the time. I sometimes think of that. I mean, what? So we got, Ahri is the number 2 pick at all ranks. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, because I'll be using this going forward, because like 70% of the player base is below plat, that means that at all ranks, this is basically how your average player, to the vast majority of people, that's what all ranks is. Plat Plus is, I think that's like 10% of the player base, somewhere around there. So Plat Plus is more, you know, what are your more hardcore players? Now you can go and whine and argue, is Plat Plus really the best play? I'm going to call it the more hardcore players. So amongst the most hardcore players, Ahri is overpowered, and she's been overpowered for a while. So generally a champion's strength can impact how piked they are at Plat Plus, whereas how popular is a champion overall to everyone, that will be at all ranks. Now, of course, this has some flaws too, so I'm just laying this all out here at the beginning of the video so we understand going forward. So Garen tends to be very popular because both A, he's really strong, his win rate is absurd, and B, a lot of people just sort of like him. Darius, on the other hand, tends to be really hated, and people like playing him, so despite him not really being that strong at the lower ranks, he tends to be picked a lot too. This is just things I'm laying out going forward. So you can see Ahri remains very picked at all ranks. She remains very picked at Plat Plus, and she's just overall a champion that I honestly, like, you'd have to be insane to not say Ahri would make it into League of Legends 2.0. Now, I want to remind everyone, if you disagree with my opinion, if you don't think I'm right, if you think I'm wrong, if you have any hate boner for anything I'm saying, you can go ahead and leave a comment telling about that. That's fine. Go ahead and leave your little hate comment. It's great, buddy. Oh, make sure to like and subscribe too. Now, going forward to our third champion, Akali. I'm going to show you why Akali is making the League of Legends 2 by just going to the League of Legends front page. When you scroll down, Akali is literally the first champion you see. She's an assassin, which is really popular. She's hot, which is really popular. She's in KDA, which is really popular. Once again, you just have to be insane to say that this champion doesn't make it to League of Legends 2.0. She's got the porn advantage. She's got the hot girl advantage. She's got the KDA advantage. She's got the extremely popular advantage. Now, I will say this. I do believe that going into League of Legends 2.0, Riot will rework her kit to be far lower skill floor and far lower skill cap. I don't think Riot really intended Akali to be this popular, and I think they got blindsided by it. They sort of made her like a more skill cappy kit because, I don't know, they just were kind of interested in that. They did Ahri, Akali, and Irelia at the same time. It was kind of that same area. And so I think going into League of Legends 2, Akali would receive a bit of a kit rework, but I definitely think that she'll make it in. Like, there's just absolutely no reason that Akali doesn't make it in. Akshan, I'm going to throw you a little bit of a curveball here, and I actually have a solid argument for why Akshan will not make it into League of Legends 2.0. Now, before I go forwards, I just want to say that I have said that Akshan is a Bollywood stereotype. Some people got offended by that. Here's the thing. The developer of Akshan, first off, he left Riot, which impacts my decision here, but he literally described Akshan as a Bollywood stereotype. He comes off as a Bollywood stereotype because the developer literally made him a Bollywood stereotype. So, okay. Akshan, here's the thing, the Indian player base for League doesn't seem to be that large. He really isn't that liked. His release was really only popular because he was just crazy overpushed and overpowered on release. Despite the fact that he's still strong, his pick rate isn't really, I mean, if I look here, Akshan, I mean, can I even find him? He's a 32nd highest pick despite still doing good at Plat Plus. In mid lane, he's at, I mean, once again, it's difficult to even find him because he's just, where is he? He's 19th. So once again, he's still pushed, he's still overpowered, and he can't even break the top 10. The developer who made him left the game, so there's nobody at Riot seemingly pushing for this champion anymore. He just sort of exists being overpowered, but nobody really wants him. And I think if you really needed to cut half the champions in the game, you'd have to make the tough call. And yeah, I think actually you would cut out Akshan. Sorry to say. Alistar. Here's the thing about Alistar that a lot of people don't know. Alistar isn't even strong for a Minotaur in the story. In the story, Alistar is an average Minotaur. That's something I think actually I haven't mentioned yet, but I'm gonna go over now. The story of a champion, their role, that stuff is actually quite important. Here, let me make my camera like a little bit smaller. Not like that much smaller, but so the thing with Alistar is that he has no interesting story. These champions all, maybe not Akshan because he kind of ruined his story, but at the very least, Aatrox and Ahri, the champions that play them really like their story. Akali, people don't seem that interested in the story, but she's got like the porn and the hot girl aesthetic and the KDA thing going on. Akshan, people really hate his story. They don't really go for that at all. Alistar, there's no story. He's got a basic kit. He's one of the first champions ever put into the game. His rework never really added that much. They just sort of added his E, which was not really that complicated of an ability. He's just very basic. He's outdated. Like, he's fine. If he's in the game, I wouldn't remove him. But if I was adding a new, like if I was making a new game, if you were making a new game, I'm gonna make my camera a bit bigger here. Would you add Alistar? I don't really think so. I don't think if you were making a new League of Legends that your first thought would be, man, we gotta get Alistar for this game. Amumu. Now, okay, here's the thing about Amumu that some guys don't know. Amumu did get a video. I'm gonna make sure that's muted. He got a video here, The Curse of the Sad Mummy. He got a music video, was it 2015? So 7 years ago now. So that's a long time ago. Amumu's popularity has waned significantly since the last 7 years. He did get a little bit of a gameplay update. He does get patched from time to time, but if you can see here, yeah, at Plat Plus, his pick rate's down to 33. At all ranks, where he typically does best and is pretty overpowered, his pick is, where are you, Amumu? 19. So even when he's overpowered, even when he's pushed, even at the low ranks, he can only break into the 19th highest pick. He's just, he's just really not that popular. He's not that enjoyed. I'm gonna close that video start window real quick. He's got a basic kit. Even with the update, they just gave him 2 Qs. If I'm making a League of Legends 2.0, you might make the argument that it's good to have basic tanks in the game, and maybe that means that Alistar should be in the game because you do need a basic tank. But I think you can have basic tanks without having Alistar. For at least a Mumu, I think he's just really hard to balance. People generally hate him. If I could look here again, if we look at all ranks and we look at a Mumu, oh, his ban rate's actually really low. That didn't used to be true. But yeah, it's just Riot can't make him good. He's very difficult to balance. I just, my opinion, a Mumu has fallen off in the last 7 years. He fell off. Okay. Anivia. Here's the thing. There are 3 gods of the Freljord, and Anivia is one of them. Now, the story isn't that important. Not really, but the thing is, a good story and that sort of thing helps people play their champion. Anivia's story, it's not great, it's not bad, some people enjoy it. She's important to the overall setting. Her kit is pretty, it's a pretty nice kit. It's got a decently high skill cap. The skill floor is at least moderately small. You can see 22nd highest pick, 52% win rate at all ranks. If we go to Plat Plus, we can see Anivia's at 52% win rate, 20th highest pick rate. So she does really good, but her pick rate isn't that high. The thing is, you need champions like Anivia. You need champions who a lot of one-trick ponies play, because when one-trick ponies play champions like Anivia, they stick with the game and they continue to play their champion. I actually think Anivia stays in the game. I think Anivia fills a role. She's a control mage. Riot hasn't made that much control mages. You're gonna need some control mages. I think Anivia makes it in. Annie, I'm gonna throw a curveball at you guys. You're all gonna think I'm saying one thing. What am I gonna say about Annie? Annie does not make it in. Why does Annie not make it in? I'm gonna make a compelling argument to you right now. Because of Vex. The role of the very easy mage, the very easy burst mage who just sort of bursts people down, that's now being filled by Vex, not Annie. Vex is more up to date, she's more sleek, she's more modern, she's got a personality that a lot of people like. She's just popular. People like playing Vex. She's just much better. She literally took Annie's job. And because of that, I don't think Annie, if you need to cut, again, you need to cut out half the champions in the game. I just don't think you need Annie in the game anymore. Plus, I mean, we do have to remember here, I'll show you guys this one here. Annie did get a video, so she used to be way more popular. You see right here? She did have a video, Riot made it. This is back in 2018, so this is only 4 years ago. It never really hit. You never really see it mentioned. A lot of these videos that Riot made, they weren't like that super popular, and I kind of, you know, it is sort of a bad thing that they weren't more popular. Riot would have made more of them. But the thing is, just Annie, you know, I just want to play devil's advocate here right now. I want to see so Darius's video has half as many views as Annie's, and it was just a short 1-minute video on Darius's personality. So I'm just saying, Annie's video was like a 5-minute full-fledged masterpiece. Darius's video got half as many views just being a 1-minute little like quip on the character. I'm just saying, Annie fell off. Aphelios, I'm gonna throw you another curveball here. Aphelios doesn't make it in. Why? He's not popular at the low ranks. He only gets popular at the super mega high ranks. And I'm not even talking the high ranks. I'm talking like the super mega high ranks. I'm talking like Masters Plus, okay? I'm not even talking Masters Plus. It's like Grandmasters Plus. It's like the 0.1% of the population. The 0.01% plays Aphelios. There's no need to even make a champion like that. Not to mention, he's imbalanceable as hell. He gets nerfed every time he's even playable. I mean, if we look here, this is one of the least balanced champions that's ever been added into the game. Let me go find bot here. Let me zoom out just a little touch. We can see Aphelios, and I'm at Plat Plus, is the 15th highest bot laner. There aren't that many bot laners. There's only 25 of them. He doesn't even make it into the top half of bot laners. At all ranks here, let's go check out populars. 16th of 24 at all ranks. He's like in the bottom third. is not popular. The only area he gets moderately popular is you go Masters Plus, he goes in the top 10. If you go into Challenger, he gets to number 7 right now. He's not it. He's not popular. Nobody likes him. He's not balanceable. He's just a detriment to the game. Ashe. Let's just be clear on Ashe here, okay? This is a champion who has a simple kit, simple abilities. She does what she does. Her skill floor isn't too low. Her skill cap isn't too high. She's a basic champion. Everybody likes her. She's good for the game. She's got a neat lore. People like playing her. There's really no reason. I don't really even need to talk that much about Ashe. I mean, it's pretty obvious for Ashe. She's gonna get in the game because she's just sort of simple. Aurelion Sol. I know what you're all about to say. Hashinshin, do you even remember how to spell Aurelion Sol? I'm pretty sure I got it here. Aurelion Sol's not making it in. Let's just be clear. The Sunfire Cape who ended up becoming a champion, he's not getting in League of Legends 2. I'm sorry, yeah, he's popular, or no, sorry, he's not popular. He's impactful to the lore, but the thing is that he's not like a character that's important for the current modern league. He only gets nerfed because he's played by like 0.01% of players. He is overpowered every time he gets picked. He's really hated by the high-ranking people because all he does is push the wave and roam. Whenever he's popular, whenever he's picked, everybody complains because all he does is push the wave and roam. He's bad designed. He doesn't have a player base. There's just no reason to include Aurelion Sol. You'd be appeasing, like, again, you'd have to take out a champion who people actually like in order to include Aurelion Sol, and I just don't see Aurelion Sol making it. There's not much to talk about. I had to literally look down to make sure I was spelling his name properly. Azir. I'm gonna throw you a little bit of a curveball here. I think Azir makes it in conditionally, and I'm gonna tell you the condition. I think Azir makes it in on the condition that he gets a kit rework. Not a major rework, but I think if he gets a minor kit rework, he would make it in. Let me tell you my arguments for this one, and I think they're decently sound. Azir is, yeah, his pick rate is pretty low, but it's not that low. Let's make this clear. For every time Aurelion Sol gets picked, Azir gets picked 2.5 times as, so yeah, that's still, even though these numbers are low, you need to consider that 0.8% is pretty far below 2.1%. He's important to the lore. He's a character that a lot of people know, a lot of people talk about him, and I think he fills a niche. Riot seems to really enjoy him, and that's probably the thing that I think pushes him the most in my mind. This champion, I looked, he gets about 3 to 4 balance updates every single season. He's one of the most patched champions in the game. Riot constantly pushes him to be top tier. Despite being low pick rate, everybody basically knows about him. In Legends of Runeterra, their card game, he's extremely popular. Despite the fact that nobody plays him in League of Legends, people like the character. I think when you rework his ability kit to have a bit lower of a skill floor and a bit lower of a skill cap, give him some reworks, do some stuff, adjust some abilities, I think, personal opinion, I think he would make it in. But again, that's my condition. If they don't feel like basically designing a new champion, they're not going to include him. Now we have Bard. Bard is one of those champions, and I'm going to be quite clear, Bard is going to make it in. And here's my argument for Bard making it in. Bard is actually one of the most one-trick champions. I don't know if it's one of the most one-trick champions, but there are a lot of people who only play Bard. You can see a 0.2% ban rate, 2.7% pick rate. This is at Plat Plus. If we go to all ranks, we can see Bard is at 28th highest pick, so low, right? But if we go all the way up in the Masters Plus, we can see Bard goes to 4% pick, still very low ban rate. Bard has a bizarre, dedicated community of Bard mains who only play Bard. Bard has a very unique kit. He or she or it does things that no other champion does. I think Bard makes it in purely on the fact that he's different. It's not like having, for example, Lux and Morgana, who are pretty similar, and you know, you'd have to make, you know, maybe it's like Seraphine and Sona, where again they're pretty similar. No one is similar to Bard. You don't find Bard's kit, his playstyle, in any other champion. He's a unique, good inclusion to the game. He rarely ever gets balanced. He averages like 1 balance update every 4 years. He's just sort of existed in the game for a very long time in a very good state. I think that he's one of these champions that you can just have in the game, and he's an extra champion that some people really enjoy playing and some people one-trick him, and he doesn't really do any damage. His kit isn't annoying, it's not frustrating. Nobody's ever quit the game because of Bard. I think bot laners are a bit annoyed at him because he roams a lot, but a lot of champions roam, and that's just how the game's played now. Now let's go up to Blitzcrank. I'm going to throw you guys a curveball here, and you're not going to believe me on this one. Blitzcrank, I do not believe makes it into the game. This is one of the first champions added in the league, and despite the fact that he is decently popular at a 7.1% pick rate at Masters Plus, he's got an 8.3% pick rate at Plat Plus. My opinion on Blitzcrank is that since his release, many hook champions have been released into the game who are infinitely more balanceable. You've got Thresh, you've got Pike, you've got Nautilus. These champions are way more balanceable, their kits are way more up to date, they fit in league way better. And because of that, they get played more. You can see all three of them get played more. And this is Thresh at his weakest he's been in like 10 years. He still gets played more. Blitzcrank is just uninteresting. His kit isn't interesting. Riot doesn't ever get that interested in him. He's a champion that gets played and goes to a decently high win rate because he can hit some Qs and pull and win the game, but that's not good for the game. That's not fun. That's not interesting. I actually don't even enjoy playing against Blitzcrank, and I think a lot of people could agree with me. He's just not interesting. If you're really going to make a League of Legends 2.0, you have to make the tough call that there's enough champions similar to Blitzcrank that I just don't think he gets added into the game. Next up we have Brand. Oh boy. I think everyone knows where this one's gonna go. Sorry Brand, you're not making the cut. Let's be clear on Brand. Even though he's gotten lots of ability updates, they've all been kind of wasted. He sits at a low pick rate. His win rate goes from meh to eh. He sometimes gets overpowered with new items. People don't like laning with him. People don't like playing against him. Few people like even playing with him. He just sort of exists as a turbo outdated champion designed in Season 2. Back when Riot was trying to power creep how long range mages could be, Brand had his W and his Q, which were super long range, but even then, that's kind of been power creep too, because now gap closers are longer, and you have champions like Xerath and Ziggs and stuff that outrange him. So his thing of being like this poke long range mage, I guarantee you most people don't even remember that he's a poke long range mage anymore. He's just sort of this AoE nuker one-shot champion. He's not interesting. He just doesn't bring a lot to it. I'm gonna be dead honest. I don't think any of you even know his story. Honestly, tell me out loud. Say if you even remember what Brand's story is. I think most people can remember Zir's story, Aurelion Sol's story, Ash's story. I think most people even know Blitzcrank. How many of you actually know who Brand is? Braum. Okay. Braum is extraordinarily unpopular. If you actually look at it, Braum's pick rate is down at like 2% at Plat Plus. At all ranks, Braum sits at a miserable 2% pick rate again. Here's my opinion though. I think that is due to Braum being weak, and he clearly doesn't get pushed by Riot in this game. However, as a champion to the entirety of League of Legends, everyone knows Braum. Everybody knows his story. He's been pushed into Legends of Runeterra. He got pushed into the Ruined King game. He gets pushed into a lot of other material, into a lot of other videos. Conceptually, people like Braum. They like the idea of Braum. They just don't like playing him. So, I think Braum actually makes it in, but I think he'll get a slight kit adjustment going in so that he's more balanceable and he's not as overpowered into the high ranks, but he, and just to be clear, when Braum used to be really good, he was dominating the high ranks and dominating pro play. That's why he exists in this sorry state, is they nerfed him into the ground, and then they just sort of forgot to go back and adjust him. So Braum, I think he makes it in. Caitlyn, okay, I'm not going to spend much time on Caitlyn. Caitlyn makes it in. Her kit doesn't really have any issues with it. She was in Arcane. She's very popular. Riot seems to always push her to always be top tier. She fills every criteria. She's popular. She's popular with Riot. She has a good, fine kit. She makes it in. Let's not spend and waste time on Caitlyn. Camille. Oh boy, Camille. Okay. Here's the thing, Camille has been one of the dominant top laners for so long that I literally cannot remember the last time she wasn't, despite the fact that, yeah, I can find her pick rate at all ranks tends to be really low. And once you start hitting Plat Plus, it starts going up pretty high. If I could find her, because maybe I'm blind? Am I blind? Yeah, okay, there's top 10. So she's in the top 10 once you go to Plat Plus. At Masters Plus, she's been in the top 1 or 2. This is the lowest she's fallen, only due to how broken Riven is and how to do popular Jaces due to a bunch of different factors. But she's been the top pick or the second pick at Masters Plus, I think 3 years running. So this is a champion who's just, I mean, there's not really that much to say about Camille. She's basically this game's version of Batman. If Batman ran around killing poor people for the crime of being poor, that would be Camille. So she stops poor people, she goes out in her night and murders poor people. And she's really popular, everybody knows about her. If you look into the high ranks, basically everybody has played her. There's no real reason to not have Camille in the game. Like, I'm sorry to say, she's just gonna be in the game, period. Cassiopeia. I'm not gonna really waste that much time. Let's go to the next row here. Cassiopeia ain't making it in, I'm sorry. The people that seem to push Cassiopeia on Riot have stopped trying to push her. She's not popular. She's not liked. People barely remember her. Going along with the story, does anyone even remember Cassiopeia's story? Same question with Brand. When I asked you the same thing with Brand, do you remember Cassiopeia's story? Because I don't. I don't remember Cassiopeia's story. I think she got turned into a snake or something. Yeah, I'm not sure. Plus her kit is really toxic and impossible to balance. Cho'Gath. Does Cho'Gath make it in? This one's going to be a difficult call, but I'm actually going to make this on the fact that Riot is doing a Void update expansion soon, and they're going to be updating the lore on a lot of Void monsters. Cho'Gath will likely get a little bit of a rework. I think Cho'Gath actually makes it in, based on the fact that the Void is going to get that rework. I think he's going to have a fleshed out kit. I think he's going to have a lore update. I mean, those are things I just said, and I just think that Cho'Gath makes it in. I do. I think Cho'Gath makes it in. He's just going to. I just feel in my heart that he's just going to be more popular. Corki. Oh boy. No, Corki ain't making it in. I'm sorry. Here's the thing. Corki is just not popular. Every time Riot pushes him, he's hated. Other champions can stay viable in pro play for a very long time and not really feel the wrath of the player base. If Corki stays in the meta for like more than a month, the player base just starts calling for him to be murdered. He's not liked. They've screwed up his kit with this weird package thing with relying on missiles and man immune to poke people from a long range indefinitely. He's badly designed. He's not liked. He was in the one cinematic with the Yordles, and he was just kind of a comic relief character. I've literally never seen a Corki main. Just not popular at all. I did put him out, right? Maybe I'll put him out a second time. No. Darius makes it in. That one should be pretty obvious. Riot likes him. He rarely spends too long bad. I think this last stint was the longest he spent being bad in a long time. He doesn't really ever spend any time out of the top 10 pick rate. He's always picked, he's always liked. You can see right now, even he's back into being the top 10 at Masters Plus. At D2, he's the 5th highest. At Diamond, he's the highest. At Plat, he's the highest. At all ranks, he's the highest. And he's a little bit overtuned right now. But the thing is, he's just super popular. A short cinematic that just had him walking for a minute and like 5 lines of text has 5 million views. He's in Legends of Runeterra. He's just really liked. A lot of people main him. His subreddit is decently popular. Everyone knows Darius. Everyone hates Darius. Everyone loves playing Darius. He's kind of iconic to the game. He was in that one cinematic that got really popular like 10 years ago. What was it, like New Dawn or something like that? I think Darius makes it in. Diana, I go back and forth with Diana in my head. I've done a lot of different takes of this video. They normally get around 30 minutes, but yes, I've spent a lot of time doing this video. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with Diana. Oh boy. Diana? If I had to make a straight call, oh boy, I think Diana gets in. I think, okay, she's toxic because she's an assassin, but every assassin is toxic. That's my opinion. Every single assassin is toxic. I think if Riot toned up, if they made her tankier and toned down her damage, she wouldn't be that frustrating. They could reduce the range and her gap closer a little bit. I think the kit is annoying but salvageable. It's probably good that they have a more simple champion. I mean, she's not like super simple, but she's not terribly complicated either. I think it's fine, and I think she makes it in. I don't know. I go back and forth with Diana. It's just, yeah. Draven gets in. I mean, purely on the popularity of the champion, the memes, the fact that he has so many one tricks. There's just, you would have to be absolutely fucking insane to not put Draven in the game. I don't have much more to say than that. You would have to be more insane than the Draven mains for Draven to not get into the game. I don't see Draven getting cut. Dr. Mundo. Oh, this one's gonna be tough because I really like him, but I'm gonna put Dr. Mundo is not getting into League of Legends 2.0. Riot did an ability update on him, a kit update on him a bit ago, and it ended up being really difficult to balance. They had to nerf him several times. You can see he's still pretty good at the lower ranks, but once you even get to like Plat Plus, he falls off a cliff, goes to 42nd pick rate, can barely manage a 50% win rate. He's really hard to balance. His kit is like, it's a fun kit, you know, it's a good fun kit. It's just a difficult kit to balance. When Garen and Darius are more balanced across the ranks, they've really messed up on Mundo, and I just don't see him being popular enough that Riot goes back and gives him a second rework. So sorry to say to Dr. Mundo, despite the fact that I really like him and I think he's cool, I think his rework actually made it worse. He now has more of a win rate lopside, and I can just, he's just like, he's popular amongst the player base, but I can see, like, the thing is, he's not popular because people like him. He's popular because it's a meme. Haha, Mundo. Like, that doesn't make a compelling champion. Let's put it that way. Echo. I'm gonna give Echo the arcane buff. I really don't think Echo should make it into League of Legends 2 because his kit is turbo toxic, one of the most toxic kits ever put in the game. But the thing is, he's an arcane. Like, he's getting in because he's an arcane. Nothing else to say. Elise, everybody's favorite spider slut. No, I don't think Elise gets in, and I have a solid reasoning for this. There's enough female champions at this point. You combine that with people's arachnophobia, which is more common than you think, and the fact you have all these champions like Evelyn, who literally did her thing but better, which, by the way, Evelyn literally did Elise's story but better. So kind of in a way where Vex replaced Annie, I think Evelyn sort of replaces Elise. They're even both junglers. They're even both slutty female junglers. They're literally right next to each other. Just like, why do you need Elise in a game that has Evelyn, right? Am I wrong? Am I wrong or am I right? I think I'm right on this one. Evelyn, does Evelyn get in the new game? Yeah, KDA, nothing more to say. If I'm gonna take Elise out for Evelyn, then we're keeping Evelyn in. Evelyn gets put in because Elise gets taken out. Nothing more to say, KDA buff. Ezreal, let's be honest, Ezreal gets in. He's extraordinarily popular. He's very unique, and that's something to do. He's very unique. He has a very unique kit. If I could just look at his kit here, he's an AD carry who plays more like an ability user, and I think that that's really important, to be honest, because when you have so many AD carries who just sort of play as right-clicking AD carry, then you have Israel, and Israel just plays totally differently, and that's important. When you're trying to make a game of fully unique, iconic characters that people can play and enjoy, Israel is the sort of champion who's just totally different. He has balance issues all the time, but you have to remember, balance issues shouldn't kill a champion unless they're actively making the game less fun for everyone. Fiddlesticks. I could go back and forth with Fiddlesticks, but at the end of the day, despite being a really cool looking champion, despite having a really neat playstyle, I think unless Riot gave him an update to make him way different, I just don't think he makes it into League 2. The fact that they kept his thing where he has to get level 6 to be useful, that's just not good. You just shouldn't have a champion who needs to get to level 6 to be useful. Fiddlesticks is kind of... He's not designed for League of Legends as it exists right now. I could imagine they bring him back with more emphasis on his Scarecrow, with more emphasis on actually being scary, on juking with his Scarecrow, things like that. Yeah. Fiora, I'm gonna make a judgment call. Fiora doesn't make it. Why? Because she's fucking stupid. One of the worst design champions ever made, ever. Straight up, I would actually put her in the bottom 5 champions ever designed ever. I'm gonna have to make a straight judgment call here. If your champion is as dumb designed as Fiora, you do not get into League of Legends 2. Horrible design, doesn't work for a MOBA. Parry is one of the most buggy abilities in the game. I've made videos on this. It's horribly designed. It doesn't fit into a game where, look, if it was in a fighting game, that would be one thing. We're expected to play on low ping, where you have rollback netcode and things like that. Parry might work. In a game like League of Legends, where people are frequently pinging 60 to 100, parry is one of those frustrating abilities, so jankily coded to try to make it work. No, Fizz doesn't get in. Like, I'm sorry to Fizz players if you like Fizz, but he's so forgettable. He doesn't really have a personality. He doesn't really get skins that often. Like, he kind of sometimes does. I guess he got a prestige skin. You don't really see anyone play him. He's just so outdated. They've had to nerf him so many times because his playstyle is toxic. I just don't see Fizz getting in. Galio, I'm a bit torn on. So, okay, here's the problem with Galio, okay? He's super toxic. Sorry to all the Galio mains. He's super toxic. I'm sorry to say. His kid being the anti-mage mid laner, so he's the anti-mid laner who spams wave clear, then uses his ult to roam. I can imagine they put Galio in, but the fact that they have to, they've had him be broken in top lane, they have had him be broken in support like 5 different times now, and every time he goes mid lane, then he gets broken as well. I just don't see a world where Galio ends up being balanced. I just don't see that world. And let's be honest, is he really that popular? Is he really? I mean, let's break it down. So here's Plat Plus. Let's see where Galio lasts 35. Nobody wants to play him. Let's look at all ranks. Where does he end up? 37. He's not popular. He's sort of forgettable. I just don't see Galio really making it. Gangplank. Okay. Gangplank's getting in. He's pretty iconic for League of Legends. He's one of the only characters that's ever died, if you know what I mean. He's got a unique playstyle. He's got the Qs, oh wait, that's Old Swain. He's got the barrels, he's got the old... He might not be the best designed and best balanced champion ever, but you don't need to be the best designed and best balanced champion ever to get into League 2. I think Gimble gets in. Likewise, well, not likewise, but Garen's getting in because he's one of the most popular and generic champions ever. Here's the thing, a game needs generic characters. Having a character be generic knight is pretty good for the game. It's okay to have a character who's just generic knight. And that's what Garen is. He's just knight. That's fine. It's fine to have a character like this. He's been the popular or the second most popular champion at all ranks for such a long period of time. He gets reworked like every 3 seasons. Wow, that is a really bizarrely fast spin. Can I see that again? Why is he spinning so fast in this? Holy crap. His ultimate, everybody loves his ultimate. There's just no reason Garen wouldn't get in. Going down now to Gnar. My opinion is that Gnar does not make it in. So a lot of you guys don't know this, but Gnar was actually originally designed to be a joke champion. I shit you not. His original intent was that he would never be competitive, that he would just exist as a joke champion, a fun champion who randomly goes mega and does lots of things and blah blah blah. He actually was, the designer literally said if he gets played in pro play, then we failed and we should nerf him. He's not designed for pro play, and yet he's only viable at the high ranks. He's kind of failed as a design completely. He's not really that popular. He only gets used to bully top lane. Even if his design was made better, he's just so frustrating and difficult to balance. And there's just no reason to include Gnar when you can include a champion who's better designed than Gnar. Moving on to Gragas. So Gragas, I really don't see Gragas making it either. He's extremely generic, but not generic in even an interesting way. He's just like, he is drunk man. He gets drunk. Okay. His kit really has been kind of outdated. His only real time he's ever useful is by using body slam to cheese out the laning phase, or in the jungle to cheese out the jungle by chain body slamming people. His mechanics, like throwing down a Q and then ulting people over, that kind of sometimes gets used, but rarely. He doesn't. I could see him maybe being brought back during a rework after they rework him to use his mechanics and stuff a little bit better, but for now, I don't even need to look. I can tell you he's got a low pick rate. Every time he's viable, it's at the high ranks, and it's by cheesing people out of the laning phase. He's basically just a generic anti-melee top laner. It's just, I don't see him getting in here. Graves, ooh, what are we gonna do with Graves? I'm gonna call Graves left in. This one, actually, I'm gonna call Graves left in for basically the same reason of Gangplank. Despite the fact that he might not be the most balanced character, despite the fact that he might have had a lot of issues over time, people like him. I don't really hate Graves. I hate his balance, but I don't really hate the champion. I think Smokescreen is terribly designed, but presuming League of Legends 2.0 had better netcode, Smokescreen wouldn't cause so many glitches and bugs and, you know, areas where you couldn't see someone who was walking right next to you or anything like that, right? So I don't see any reason to not have Graves in the game. I mean, just look at his kit. He's cool. He blows things up. He's been in a lot of cinematics. He's just a cool, interesting character. He's got a personality. He's got a shotgun. I mean, there's not many characters that could fill his niche. Gwen, I'm going to make the executive decision. I don't think Gwen makes it. I think her design is so bad that it makes up for the fact that she's a generic weeb bait fetish character. She's not interesting. She's only popular when she's overpowered. Nobody actually wants to learn how to play her. She kind of failed her design too. She tends to be overpowered at like 48% win rate, which you don't really want a character who's overpowered at 48% win rate. That makes it pretty hard to balance them, you know? And her playstyle isn't really that interesting either. Everything about her just really isn't that fun. Her ult too, she just what, she runs up and she just starts spamming ult and ignite and kills you from full HP. That's not interesting either. She's just, it's like once again with Akali, they just screwed up really bad and they tried to make a weeb fetish bait character, a fucking porn bait character, and instead of having them balanced, they're just really imbalanced. And I don't think she's as popular as Akali either. Maybe they find maybe they give her like a mini rework and they find a sweet spot, but I just don't see Gwen making it in. She doesn't even have I don't think, does she even have a fan base? She got one of the best skins in the game. This skin, Cafe Cutie's Gwen, the detail and the detailing on that skin is incredible. If you own this skin, go or maybe go look at a video of just zoomed in on this skin. All the different chromas have different little things all the way down to the skirt. The fucking skirt has different designs for each chroma going down it. They put so much effort into this champion, and from a Riot perspective, she's probably one of their most favorite champions because she's just another generic weeb character. But yeah, I don't think she developed the fan base they thought she was going to. I think the story event she was attached to was received really poorly. I don't really see her making it in. I just feel like she's too generic. She reached the point of generic overload where she's so generic that she's just forgettable at this point. They tried so many times to make so many generic weeby characters that they finally made one who is just like an amalgamation of every weeb generic stereotype into a character that just, I swear to God, I play against her a lot and I still sometimes forget that she's in the game. Hecarim, okay. Oh boy, I feel like whether or not Hecarim gets added into League 2 is on a coin flip. Here's why. Hecarim does not have the most interesting abilities, but they're somewhat interesting, and he does fill a niche. He charges people down and all that. The thing is, he's popular, but I think he's really only popular because he always somehow ends up being overpowered. I don't really know how he does it, but it's like he always ends up being overpowered, not because of what he intended. It's like he just sort of accidentally ends up being overpowered all the time, which makes him popular. And this is what I'm talking about, the coin flip. It's like, is Riot intending that? Like, are they pushing Hecarim because they like him? Or is it just random chance? Is it just dumb luck? I'm gonna reset my camera. It seems to have an issue there. I don't know. I think I'm gonna put Hecarim as not included, but with the caveat that if I don't have enough champions at the end that will be included, I'd include Hecarim, because he's not a terrible champion, I guess. Heimerdinger, once again, I'm making the executive call on Heimerdinger. He doesn't get included because he's super toxic to fight. He's super cancer. He's super toxic. He's super lame. He doesn't have a large player base. If he's viable in bot lane, the bot laners hate him. If he's viable in top lane, the top laners hate him. If he's viable in mid lane, the mid laners hate him. Nobody likes him. Nobody likes having him in their lane. Riot seems to have stopped trying to push him recently. He's just sort of been lost and forgotten. I don't even need to look to tell you that his player base just isn't there. He doesn't have a player base. Nobody likes him. He's not getting included. There's just nothing more to say. Despite the fact that he's in Arcane, even in Arcane, he feels more like a background character. So, like, if you watched Arcane, I don't think you would assume, just watching the show, I don't think you would assume he was a character in League. He has no fight scenes. He doesn't do anything. He just sort of serves as a character whose plot only exists to further the plot of more important characters. So, I don't think Heimerdinger gets included. Alawi? I think if they made a League of Legends 2, I think they could give Alawi better hitboxes, and I think they could give her better, less janky mechanics by redesigning her. Riot seems to like pushing her more so recently. She's decently popular. I mean, I don't actually think she's really that popular anymore. She was kind of popular for a little bit, but I think she fell off completely. 19th highest pick, that's not bad. I'm gonna tentatively say that Alawi gets put in the game based on the fact that if she gets a little bit of a kit rework, so all her bugginess and her jankiness and all that stuff can maybe go away, then maybe she would be better in the game. She certainly has a unique playstyle. I don't know if it's a good playstyle, but it's a unique playstyle. She's a very frustrating champion, though, I can tell you that much. I'll say tentatively I might include her. Irelia gets included. Like, I'm sorry. Irelia is too popular. They really played up the weeb fetish shit with her when the people were talking about Frostbutt Irelia, and then, like, they literally gave her the new art centered on her ass. Yeah, I mean, they very clearly do the whole porn bait shit, putting her in skin tight suits all the time, giving her these weeb skins all the time. It's like each of her skins just keeps getting weebier and weebier as time goes on. Jesus, she gets so many skins. Yeah, she's just, in her playstyle, at the very least, her playstyle is unique. I think they could maybe touch it up a little bit going into League of Legends 2.0, but at the very least, it's a unique, different playstyle. I don't know if it's balanced, but it's unique, and she has a very large player base, and people like her, and the weebs enjoy her. Ivern. This one's gonna be a real tough call. Here's the thing with Ivern. I don't think Ivern is overpowered. I don't think he's bad for the game. I think he has a unique playstyle. Everything about Ivern, conceptually, is good for the game. When you think about the concept of Ivern, everybody likes him. An enchanter in the jungle with a unique playstyle, with different stuff. Here's the problem. I literally just knew I had to scroll all the way to the bottom and I'd find Ivern amongst the lowest picked junglers in the game. Let's be clear. Ivern is as low picked as champions like Kiana jungle, Talia jungle, Gragas, Nasus, Teemo jungle. As many people enjoy playing Teemo jungle as they do playing Ivern jungle. The problem with Ivern is that despite the fact that he should be more popular, he simply is not. And I just do not see Riot making Ivern popular no matter what they do. And if a champion, like, there comes a certain point we just have to accept reality as it is. The reality as it is is that Ivern is just not that popular. And if you're just not that popular, Riot is a company. They're going to go, Ivern, I'm sorry, your lore, your aesthetic, all that stuff, people just don't enjoy it. They just don't enjoy playing you, Ivern, and you can't make people enjoy the champion. You can't just tell people, guys, Ivern is really good for the game. If they do that, the people are gonna be like, okay, that's great. They're not like, you can't force people to lock in Ivern. You can't take control of their keyboard and mouse and make them play him. And if they can't do that, then there's no reason to continue to include him in the game, is there? Janna. I think Janna's a safe include, actually. She's an enchanter, right? Likes their enchanters. She has a pretty balanced kit. She gets relatively updated. Riot's okay with leaving her a bit overtuned pretty much permanently. A lot of people like her. She gets semi-regular skins. She sort of fills that support role thing where, you know what I mean? You got like the Lulu, Janna, Seraphine, Lux, you know, those sorts of supports where, like, if you play one of them, you probably play all of them. She fills that role, so there's like no reason to not include her at all. Like, she's a non-threatening, non-toxic character that people enjoy. That's exactly the sort of champion that you want to include in League of Legends too. Jarvan. As much as it pains me to say, because I used to really enjoy playing Jarvan, as much as it pains me to say, Jarvan's out. A lot more champions are going out than I thought I was going to do. Jarvan's out. I'm sorry. Jarvan is so outdated. He's not really even that good. His only real role at this point seems to be hard engaging at the high ranks. He hasn't really ever found a player base. He's outdated. I don't think does he even get that many skins? He got Worlds 2021, I guess. He sometimes gets skins. I mean, I think he's one of the only, when they did all those male pool party champions, where they did like all the really hot men in bathing suits, I think he was the only one that everybody forgot is even in the game. Do you remember that Jarvan got a pool party skin? Suffice it to say, he seems like sort of a waste of space even including in the game right now. His kit isn't really that interesting either. Jax. Don't call me biased. Jax gets in. Let's be clear about this one, okay? I'm not being biased. Jax is, even before he got buffed, he was still in the top 10 pick rate. So last patch, he was still in the top 10 pick rate. This patch, he's number 4. At Plat Plus, he's number 2. At Masters, he's number 5. Riot loves Jax. They have never allowed Jax to be bad in like the last 4 years. Anytime he's bad, he gets pushed right back in it. He's good. He's one of the first bruiser redesigns they did, despite the fact that he's more simple now. I don't think, like, I really think they could touch up his numbers and make him less of a counter pick even. I think he's a good champion for the game. I think he's fun. I think people enjoy playing him. He's not my least favorite champion to fight either. He's fine. And he kind of fills the role like Janna fills. He's just sort of like a non-threatening character who's got abilities that maybe they aren't the most complicated abilities, but okay, you know, not everyone needs the most complicated abilities. He's the dude who counter-strikes. Everybody knows Jax. He's a dude who triple hits you. Everybody, you know, every Riot design copied him. You look back since season 2, you can find DNA of Jax in like every modern bruiser champion, because Jax was the first bruiser they made. If you guys played from the way beginning, Jax was the first bruiser they made that actually worked. He was the first one. And ever since then, they've basically been taking the DNA of Jax and splicing it into all their new champions because they found something that worked and they kept copying it. So Jax, 100%, I think he gets in. Jace gets in. Yeah, I feel bad because I had way more champions that weren't getting in, but now I realize I'm hitting a huge long line of champions that are getting in. Jace was in Arcane. He's been... If we look at Plat Plus, he's the 4th highest pick. If we look at Masters Plus, he's the highest pick. He's been that way for a long time. If we look at all ranks, he's pretty low. Yeah, he's 12th. I mean, that's not pretty low. So that's not super high, though. It's higher than Aatrox. He's popular. He might be decently hard to balance, but I don't think you... I mean, I think if you give him like a little bit of a rework, you know, adjusted some numbers, did some tomfoolery, some tinkering with it, I think he'd be fine. And so I just think, and then again, he was in Arcane, their TV show. So if you're in their TV show, you're making it back in. So Jace gets in. Jin gets back in. Jin literally was voted the most iconic character in NA. Literally the most, single-handedly the most iconic character. So he's getting in on that alone. They did a poll, all the NA people throughout North America, everybody was like, yes, Jin is the most iconic character. 4th highest pick at all ranks, 4th highest pick at Plat Plus, 6th highest pick at Masters Plus. I was hoping it was going to be 444. People like him. He's relatively easy to balance. He's got a more simple kit. Jin gets in. There's not much to say. Jinx is getting in. I mean, she was in Arcane. She's super popular. Everybody likes her. Not much more to say. Kai'Sa's getting in. Just so much porn. She's literally their... I always call her this. Kai'Sa is their ambiguously overaged character with that anime style where they say they're overaged. And she's got the skin tight bodysuit. She's got the KDA buff. She's got skin. This is a new champion, and look at how many skins she has even. I mean, she's only been out for what, 4 years, and she has more skins than some champions do. Kai'Sa gets in. I don't think anyone expected otherwise. She doesn't really have a threatening kit either. It's decently balanced. She's been broken. She's been underpowered. At any given point in time, she's been overpowered and underpowered. It really goes either way. I think at this point, they've got the numbers down decently. I feel like, once again, we're at a champion who's not really that threatening. AP Kai'Sa is kind of an issue right now, but, every champion's got a time where they're a bit of a balance issue. But I think Kai'Sa gets in. Kalista, okay, let's just cut to the chase. Kalista ain't getting in. Between the horrible balance issues where she's always overpowered in pro play, she's always underpowered in solo queue, there's just no reason to include Kalista. There's just no reason. I have nothing else to say. This champion, Kalista, if she's ever viable, she instantly becomes overpowered in pro play, and then they have to nerf her into the ground. She basically doesn't even exist into the game right now. Karma, okay, she gets in. Karma gets in. Despite the fact that she has some balance issues into the higher ranks, and she does. She has a lot of balance issues into the high ranks. They're not like the worst balance issues. There are always going to be champions who perform better at the high ranks. She's got some issues, but she's not like, she doesn't literally break the game like a Felios or Kalista when they're viable. She gets a little bit overpowered, and she has a neat kit. Despite the fact that it's more simple, it still feels different. She's got her cool ultimate and stuff like that. Riot likes putting skins out for her. I like looking at her skins. In particular, where is it? You know which one I'm talking about. Yeah, we all like looking at Karma's skins. So I think she gets in. Once again, you got a champion. Look, some champions get in, some champions don't get in, and that's just how I feel about it. Karthus, he gets in. Despite the fact that I really hate him at times, he's got a very unique playstyle, and he's not really that threatening. They've fine-tuned the numbers a lot. Every champion is going to be frustrating in their own way, in my opinion. Every champion will be frustrating in their own way. I don't think Karthus is particularly way more frustrating than any other champion, to the point where we wouldn't include him in the game. Would you? I would include him, because it's not like a Vayne or Fiora where like he literally breaks down the game and makes certain champions unplayable. He excels and he doesn't excel, and he's just sort of a non-threatening dude. Kassadin. If you wanted to have the healthiest game possible, and I'm gonna make this argument, if you want to have the healthiest game possible, you would have to exclude Kassadin. That's a strong argument. He's such a hard counter pick who automatically loses or automatically wins. He's only useful after 6. He's so frustrating that he scales to 16 and beats everyone. It's just so annoying fighting this piece of shit. It's so annoying playing with this piece of shit. He's been a balance issue like every other season. He's so hard to balance. The anti-mage mid laner, so he's effectively an anti-mid laner mid laner. Despite the fact that AD assassins are decently good into him, they have to keep certain items like Seeker's Armguard deliberately underpowered, because if Kassadin gets access to good armor, he takes over the game. Let's be honest on this one. Kassadin ain't coming back. Katarina, it pains me to say it, but I'm gonna bow down to the fucking girls here, or I guess it would be men, boys, yeah, those people. Katarina, okay, here's the thing with Katarina. Katarina is a lot of women like Katarina, and a lot of men also like Katarina. She's very popular amongst both of the genders. And she gets lots of skins, lots of people like her. She doesn't even get that sexualized anymore. Like, yeah, okay, she's got her ass showing off there, but like, she wears lots of clothes typically. It's kind of weird. Like, her base skin is where she's practically the most sexualized. Yeah, she's got like the booty shorts and stuff, but like in recent years, so let's say, when was recent years? I think we'd start that with like when Project Katarina or Warring Kingdoms Katarina, like you look at her skins, they're not really even that sexualized anymore. She's just sort of popular. People like her personality. I think honestly the hottest thing about Katarina, honestly the hottest thing about Katarina is probably her personality. I think a lot of people like that. And despite being a balance issue a lot, again, you have to admit that sometimes champions will be balance issues, and if you removed every champion who ever had a balance issue, you'd be left with like Bard. She's niche-full. She's got a large champion base. People like her. People like playing. She's just gonna get in. Like, that's just my opinion. She gets in. Kayle, I'm gonna make the very. Some of you guys might be saying this comes out of left field. I'm gonna make the, you know what? I'm gonna have to start shrinking this list here, aren't I? Because the camera's kind of getting in the way nowadays, ain't it? So I can either make my camera smaller, or I can make the list smaller. I guess we'll go with my camera. So, who are we on, Katarina? No, we're on Kayle. Okay, I'm gonna make the call here on Kayle. That Kayle gets in. Kayle is a scaling champion who everybody likes. She gets lots of skins. I've literally never seen this skin before in my life, and it makes sense because it looks awful. She gets lots of skins. She is just, wow, there was a huge gap between Pentakill and then more recent Kayle. Huh. Okay, so I guess she doesn't actually get that many skins anymore, but from what I remember, her pick rate is pretty decent. Let me look that one up, actually. I want to double check that one. So if I look here at top lane, she's 18th highest pick at Plat Plus. She's 17th highest pick at all ranks. So she's got a decently high pick rate. She's got some people that like her. Yeah, she's got a balance issue. Yeah, she's got the level 16 issue, but I think they've actually done the numbers pretty decently. It's a little bit frustrating because she can be really annoying for certain champions like Darius and Garen. But again, if you removed every champion with a balance issue, you'd be left with Bard. So I think Kayle gets in. Kayn, I'm gonna be honest, Kayn gets in. Kayn gets in purely on the fact that he's just too popular. People love Kayn, they love playing him. He's like, Kayn is practically like, he's like, okay, a lot of people make fun of Seraphine because like, oh, Seraphine's like the generic e-girl character. Kayn is like the generic goddamn e-boy character. I have two demons inside me fighting for control. Oh, God, he's generic. But he's fun with it, you know, and he's the 3rd highest pick, the 6th highest pick. People enjoy him. People make fan art of him. People love him. He's just like a generic e-boy character. I've got the angel and the demon fighting inside me. God, he's so fucking lame, but whatever. I mean, Garen's lame. He's knight, right? So, you got Kennen. Let's not beat around the bush here. You really think Kennen is getting in here? Anyone actually think Kennen is making the cut? Nah, Kennen's not making the cut. Sorry to say. So I don't really need to say anything about that. Kennen is just so... I shouldn't have sipped there. I know some of you guys hate it when I sip. I'll try not to do that again. Kennen is just so forgettable. Kha'Zix, I'll be honest, Kha'Zix is badly designed and he's pretty forgettable. Nobody really mains him. He could have been a lot cooler. I think he was a lot cooler when he was released, in that he was kind of like a poke assassin who could kind of like poke at you and use a slow to get away, and then he could heal. But instead of trying to go with the whole slow and the poke and the heal and any of that, they just kept boosting his damage and boosting his invisibility to the point where he just kind of became really annoying and frustrating. I think if they went back and gave him a rework to make him more of being a pokey, slowy character, I think he would come off a lot better. Actually, despite the fact that it sounds more annoying, I think it's actually less annoying than just being the champion who goes invisible and one-shots you. Kindred makes it in because the furries. Like, I'm sorry to say, Kindred makes it in because the furries. The furries just love Kindred. They make so much Kindred porn. They're talking about Kindred. Every Kindred main is a furry. They love it. Like, the furries, someone making this character decided she needed to have a large butt. They were like, that needs to have a large butt. That lamb should be sexualized. And then she even got a skin where they made her look like a girl. Like, the furries. Fucking, the furries just got to us, chat. The furries just got to us. Kled, as much as it pains me because I love him, I have to be as unbiased as possible. Kled doesn't make the cut. He is really enjoyed conceptually, but the thing is, much like Ivern, he's more popular than Ivern by a good chunk. Like, he's probably 2 to 3 times more popular than Ivern. Like, I agree, but he's just so forgettable. He's like a meme, and people like making fun of him and enjoy his quotes and all that stuff, but here's the thing, at the end of the day, nobody actually wants to play him, and a lot of that is due to his bugs and due to Riot balance. But do you think Riot really wants to deal with having a champion so buggy because they gave him this jank remount mechanic? The more viable he is, the more people hate him as well. Because of his wacky jank mechanics, even till today, where he's barely even playable. I bet you he still has like a 51% win rate. Yeah, just people don't know how to fight him, and they never want to learn how to fight him, so he always just maintains a high win rate, which means that whenever he gets popular, everyone gets frustrated and hates him, despite the fact that, again, he's barely even playable and he has a 51% win rate. So balance issues, forgettability, nobody likes playing him, Riot doesn't like him. He doesn't get in. Kog'Maw, let's not joke. I'm not even going to waste time. Kog'Maw doesn't get in. We all know why. Kog'Maw who? You probably even forgot that Kog'Maw was in this game. What's Kog'Maw's story? I don't even think the Void event can save this champion. Forgettable. LeBlanc. Ooh, I feel like for the sake of balance, LeBlanc shouldn't get in. But is she really the worst designed champion ever? No. I'd put her in the bottom half for sure. As in, she's definitely in the bottom 50% for champions who are extremely bad for the game. But the thing is that, can we be honest on this one? I feel like she's like the most frustrating, worst balanced champion that at the same time is still workable. Like, she'd be at the absolute bottom, but she's still workable. Lee Sin gets in. Did anyone think I was going to say anything else? Anyone think I was going to say otherwise? Lee Sin gets in. Too popular. He's just too popular. There's nothing to say. He's just too popular. Leona gets in. I think she's kind of non-threatening. She's not really that big of an issue. She had semi-consistent skins, let's say. Lots of people like her. They like her. Wow, why does Prestige Leona look amazing, and then Battle Academia regular looks terrible? Did they deliberately make the regular Battle Academia look terrible to try to sell the Prestige one? Like, her hairstyle is significantly better, the coloring is better. What even is this coloring? A light blue with regular blue, with gold, with purple, with gold trim? And then there's black, and then she's wearing thigh highs with a battle skirt or something? Like, who even thought of this? This is so dumb. This one improves in every way. It even makes the shield look cooler. Wow. Okay, Riot was clearly trying to go install prestige on that one. Leona gets in. Look, she's sometimes been a bit of a balance issue, but I think she's sort of like, she's been played so much and for so often, I feel like she's kind of iconic, and I really don't see a reason for Aurelia to... Aurelia? I don't see a reason for Leona to not be included. Lilia. Oh, boy. Okay, this one... Okay. This one's going to be difficult to say. Lilia is a new champion, but she's also extremely unpopular. And I know what Riot was trying to do. They were trying to do another one of these weeb champions, but they just didn't catch an audience with the kind of tanky mid-range dot champion. It's like they were trying to do Singed, but they were trying to update Singed for a new audience. And so then they came up with Lilia, and she's only really ever been usable in pro play. She's really unpopular. I don't even need to look that up. I can just tell you she's really unpopular. People don't like using her. She's just... I don't know what to say. She's just not popular. She just doesn't get played. There's just nothing to say about Lilia. Sorry, Lilia. I honestly think she just doesn't get in. If you have a new champion in the game with updated new mechanics and you can't convince anyone to play them, then they're not going to get played. Lissandra... this one's a tough call, but I think Lissandra actually gets in. Does she... If I'm going to be fair to myself, despite the fact that I think balance-wise she's fine, I think what kills Lissandra and makes me want to put her into the doesn't make it is that nobody actually wants to play her. She's good right now. She's good. She's a perfectly fine, viable champion. I've played with her and against her many times. She gets the top 22 pick at Plat Plus. At all ranks, she gets to 28th. So the only time Riot can make her playable and make people want to play her is by pushing her really hard. I don't know. I mean, I'm torn. I think I'm going to have to go with my gut, actually. I'm going to say Lissandra makes it in. Her playstyle might be frustrating, but she's unique. She's... Like, you're not going to get what you get from Lissandra from a different champion. She's got a unique playstyle. The whole engage CC mage thing. Like, I think Lissandra just gets in. I don't know. I might be wrong on this one. Maybe you guys can have a better opinion than me. Lucian, I think Lucian gets in. He's pretty... The thing with Lucian is he's pretty non-threatening. He doesn't really do anything that frustrating. He has a unique kit. People like him. It's a pretty... Like, the thing is with Lucian is that his kit isn't too high skill. It's not too low skill. It's perfectly fine. Again, non-threatening. Pretty much fine. I don't really see an issue with Lucian. Oh wow, we're nearly halfway done. Lulu. Oh god damn it. Okay, as much as I don't want her to get in, I think Lulu gets in. That's my opinion. Lulu's one of the most frustrating, worst design champions in the game. Polymorph is awful. The fact that they never addressed Polymorph makes me hate this champion so much. The thing is, all it would take is a new design team getting in and nerfing Polymorph's duration, and she'd be fine. Plus, she's just really popular. Lulu's just really popular. Again, she's in that category of support champions that basically everyone knows. So not including her in the game would just be weird. Lux, let's be honest, Lux is getting in. Lux is just loved. Everyone loves Lux. She's just one of the most loved champions. Period. Everyone loves Lux. I know people hate fighting her, but like there's just no... She's just one of the most popular champions. She's, I think, straight up the most popular support by a good... In fact, let me look this up. I think she's straight up at all ranks. Yeah, she is the most popular support by a long shot over the number 2. And if her ban rate was lower, she might be a lot higher, actually, as well. So Lux 100% gets in. No doubt in my mind, Lux gets in just based on the popularity. Malphite out. Malphite is so outdated. The only reason people play him is because he's this jank-ass counter pick to a lot of top laners. He just exists to be first picked. Or sorry, second picked as a counter pick. He just exists for autofilled top laners. The game doesn't need an extremely low, dumb skill cap champion like Malphite. Nobody needs Malphite in their game. Nobody does. That's it. That's really all I have to say. He's just not popular. Malzahar, I don't think Malzahar gets in either. He's not really that popular. I'm not gonna even look at it. I can just tell you, he's not really that popular. His kid is really frustrating. He just ults people. That's it. He just ults people. That's it. If anyone wants to know, I mean, this is what he does. He ults you. He ults you, he CCs you, that's it. That's his entire kit. He's so outdated, he's so old, he's so dumb. Nobody likes playing against him. I don't really even like having him on my team. All he does is try to remove one champion from the game. Despite the fact he has somewhat unique mechanics with like the whole, he uses his E and spreads the space aids to people. It's like, he rarely even uses that stuff. 90% of the time, he's just using his ult and trying to one-shot you in his ult. That's it. Maokai, I don't think it's included either. I have a good reason for that. Riot doesn't seem to like Maokai. They leave him bad for such long periods of time. They haven't really tried to rebalance him in forever. He went down to bot lane and started playing in support, and then rather than trying to like rebalance him so he could be played in top lane again, they just sort of forgot about him, and now he just exists as a support. And that's it. That's all he does. He just sort of exists as a support. And he's not even a particularly good support right now because they nerfed him so many times. And that's it. That's all Malphite does. Riot doesn't like him. The player base doesn't really like him. He's kind of been forgotten. I just don't think he gets included. There's nothing some of these champions are just gonna be so basic that I can't really even talk that much about them. Master Yi, he gets in. I think despite the fact that Master Yi has been a constant balance issue for the low ranks, he's constantly overpowered at the low ranks. He's constantly underpowered at the high ranks. We can see right here, he's still the 4th highest picked champion at the low ranks. Once you get even to Plat Plus, he's the 15th highest pick. Even once you get to Diamond Plus, how low does he go? 23rd highest pick. So he gets picked because he's overpowered, and that's it. But the thing is, Riot pretty much always keeps him viable at all points in time. So Riot likes him, the player base likes him. Now, maybe they only like him because he's always overpowered at the low ranks, but I just think he's really iconic for the game. He's kind of one of those dumb champions. He'll probably see a little bit of a rework if they put him in a League of Legends too, but I think he's just too iconic to the game, and I think particularly he's just too popular at the low ranks. He's just too popular at the low ranks for Riot to leave him out. Okay, as we continue along, I shrank the list and reorganized it a little bit so we could continue. So after Master Yi, we have Miss Fortune. Now, what's going on with Miss Fortune? She's being included. Why are we including Miss Fortune? I mean, porn, lots of porn. She's super popular. She hasn't gotten, I mean, yeah, she just got a skin. I think she actually gets yearly skins, doesn't she? Wait, has she actually? Oh no, that's just a prestige rework. So yeah, she got in Star Guardian. She got multiple legendaries. She got a prestige. People just really like her. But they actually changed it so this one she shows off the thighs, and in this one she shows off the midriff. Okay, I think I prefer the coloring on this one anyway. So Miss Fortune's just really popular. I can't imagine why she's popular. Yeah, she's popular. She's like a non-threatening champion, as in she has a unique design. She has some cool gameplay. People like her. Her pick rate's not too low, but that's because she's a little bit undertuned right now. If she was a little bit overtuned, I mean, yeah, she gets, the lower rank you are, the better she is. She's pretty popular at the lower ranks. Yeah. So I guess she does have a bit of a balancing issue from that side, where she's super popular at the low ranks, but people just like playing her. They like looking at her. They like her design. They like both her designs. There's just, I feel like you gotta have some champions that excel at the lower ranks. Like you can't have every champion be an only high rank masher like Jace. You know, you gotta have some champions that just, you click R and people die and it's fun, right? If you don't have fun champions, what are you gonna do? Mordekaiser. Can I fit his entire name? No, I'm just gonna put Mord then. Mord gets in because he's just way too popular, but he gets a rework. 100% he gets a rework. People like Mord. They like his skins. They like his visual design. They love everything about this champion. He's one of the coolest champions in the game. His voice is amazing. His skins are amazing. Everything about this champion is just so cool. And then you look at his abilities and you're like, oh, so what does this do? He gets a shield? There's a champion that just gets a shield as an ability in 2022. What does this do? It pulls. I mean, his ult is cool, but once again, you just click it and then you go back to hit him with the mace. His passive is passive, I guess. So I think he'd get a bit of a rework to be a bit more entertaining of a character, but I feel like he definitely gets included just because he's way too popular. Everyone likes Mord. Everyone likes playing Mord. He's frustrating to fight sometimes, but I feel like that's just because his kit is so wacky. Morgana gets included because she's Morgana. She's hot. She's the goth girlfriend character. She gets skins all the time. Everyone loves her. She's just... I did not know that skin was in the game. Everyone likes Morgana. And even though she's really frustrating, I don't know what I would do without her in my life. But, yeah, I mean, is she really that popular? She is pretty popular at the old ranks, so she's a known character, she's a liked character. At this point, I think they could maybe rework her a little bit when they add her back into League 2. You know, maybe tone down the duration of the route, do something with her other abilities, you know, a little bit of a slight rework, make her a little bit more complicated, not just a root machine. But yeah, I think Morgana makes a cut. Nami also makes a cut. I'm gonna spoil you guys with that one. Here's the thing, Nami actually doesn't typically fit into the, where are you, Nami? Am I blind? Oh, wait. Okay, she's literally the most pick plat support. Okay, at Masters Plus, she's 6th highest pick. At all rank, she's 10th highest pick. Riot likes Nami being strong. Nami is a bit weird because she doesn't really actually get played that much by the non-Nami players, despite the fact you think she would. The non-Nami players don't touch Nami that much, but Nami is a large player base, actually, that likes playing Nami, and it's a pretty large player base, and they really like playing Nami, and Riot just appeases them and keeps her a little bit overpowered all the time, and that's basically it. Nami's just really liked. Her kits, again, it's not a threatening kid, it's not a low skill kid. People like Nami. She's not the worst designed champion. I don't really hate her. I don't really see any reason to not include Nami in League of Legends 2. On to Nasus. So Nasus, I'm sorry guys, Nasus doesn't make it. Despite the fact that he's kind of popular, despite the fact that some people like him, I think the problem with Nasus is that he's nearly impossible to balance. He fills the fantasy of character who scales well, but then the thing is, he doesn't actually scale that well at the higher ranks because he just gets permakited in the late game. No matter how much damage you do, he just gets permakited. So he's just sort of a low rank champion like Master Yi, but unlike Master Yi, he doesn't even fill his fantasy at the higher ranks. You just reach a certain rank and just conceptually, by the design of your champion and how they're balanced, you just fall off and don't do anything anymore. That's not great design. Nautilus, oh boy. I think Nautilus gets included. And I think he gets a bit of a rework to be less frustrating. Tighten up his hitboxes a little bit, you know what I mean? Tighten up his hitboxes, rework his skins a little bit. I mean, you can see he looks really outdated and dumb and outdated. You could definitely make him cooler. You could probably push him out of support. I know he's been support for such a long time, but to be honest, just being in support because his Q hitbox is too big to fail is probably not the best design for a champion. But yeah, I think he's sort of non-threatening. People like him. He's not really that big a deal. Honestly, he's more of a meme, but he's kind of an iconic League meme. He gets picked at the low ranks, the high ranks, competitive play, everywhere. Everyone plays Nautilus all the time. Nico, let's be honest, Nico gets removed. She's just another one of these champions who just exists to shit on top laners and just beat up melee top laners, and that's all she's really ever done. Sometimes she's kind of viable in other lanes, but 99% of her existence is just sitting top and beating the crap out of melee top laners. She never really found a role. Her kit is way too basic. I can't tell if they're trying to make her a support or a top laner. The only time she's been viable is when she finally got her root buffed, and then she just immediately ran top lane and started beating up all the top laners because her root got buffed. It's just a bad design champion. It just makes no sense. Nidalee, I think Nidalee gets included. She's pretty iconic. She's pretty liked. People like Nidalee. I don't really, I mean, for some of these champions, there's not much I can say. Nidalee's pretty liked. She's kind of non-threatening. I don't think her pick rate is that low. Yeah, I mean, it's still in the top 20 at all ranks, despite the fact she's bad. So some people do just like playing Nidalee. She's more of a high-ranked champion. Man, I just can't. I can't imagine League of Legends without this really annoying piece of shit running around. Nocturne, despite the fact that Nocturne is decently popular, and I don't know really how popular he is, I think he actually gets removed. I don't think he really contributes anything to the game. He uses his ult and blinds people, then does a really long dash. That's it. That's his entire contribution to the game. His Q is he moves fast and does lots of damage. His W is he blocks a spell. His E is he fears people. It's such a basic kit. The only time he's really viable anymore is when he's being used in a lane to bully people. He's super forgettable. He doesn't really have much of a lore anymore because when they revamped the League lore, for those of you who don't know, when they revamped the League lore, they basically just retconned Nocturne out of existence. He kind of just doesn't even exist anymore, which is super weird. But yeah, oh well. Nunu and Willump, I'm gonna be dead honest. I think I could go either way on Nunu and Willump. Nunu and William. On the one hand, he's popular, but it remains to be questioned. Like, is he popular because he's always kind of been overtuned, or is he popular because he's liked? He's sort of non-threatening, but he doesn't really contribute that much to the game, you know? No, I don't think anyone plays League because they like Nunu. Just to be fair, I'm gonna include Nunu on the include. I think he's non-threatening enough. He has sort of a unique gameplay, even though it's kind of toxic. But it's not even the most toxic gameplay. Elise is pretty toxic. Nunu's just annoying. Olaf. Man, I love Olaf, but he's not getting included. Maybe after they do the visual update and the rework they were talking about doing, maybe then I would include him. But for now, he's so outdated. Riot doesn't even like pushing him anymore. Nobody likes pushing him anymore. I don't even think he's that bad for the game. It's just Riot doesn't care about him. The player base doesn't care about him. Everybody's forgotten him. He's kind of got a decent lore, so they could probably save him. If they do a champion rework, they could probably save him. Orianna. Orianna has a unique playstyle, moving around her ball. Nobody else does anything like this. She's a zoning mage. She's a control mage. She's got the cool ultimate. Yeah, I would say Orianna gets included. You can't find a champion like Orianna without going to Orianna. I think she gets included because she's not really that threatening anymore. Like, it used to be that she was pretty overpowered, extremely overtuned, but it's been a good long time since having a slow at range made you like crazy overpowered and unbalanceable. Ornn, I think Ornn gets included. Let me explain my thought process on this one. Ornn is a tank. For a tank, he's decently popular. He's got a decent design. I think they could adjust his numbers a little bit, adjust his balance a little bit. I think they could bring him back into the game in a healthier state. Maybe reduce his brittle damage, but also reduce his cooldowns, but also maybe give him back like half the shield he used to have. Something like that. I think he would be fine. I think Ornn would honestly be fine. He's liked. He doesn't really need that much of an update. People enjoy him. He's the late game tank who just scales top lane. He's not bad for the game. He's really not. There's not much more to say about Ornn. Once again, he's one of these non-threatening characters who, including him in the game, wouldn't really ruin anything. It would be fine to have him in the game, in fact. Pantheon. I'm gonna have to make a tough call on this one. This is like when you love all your children, but you have to love one of them the most. Pantheon does not get included. His kit, even after the rework, Riot, I personally could find a way to rework him to be better, but Riot can't seem to find a way to rework him. They even have a mini rework, not a big one, but like a tiny mini rework that they were talking about doing, and the numbers on that don't even look like they're going to be balanced either. This champion just doesn't look balanceable. He just doesn't look good for the game as is. If he's good, then he just tower dives and beats people up early game. If he's bad, then nobody plays him. That's the thing. You can tell if a champion is popular if when they're bad, they still get played. Here's the thing. When Pantheon isn't great, he sits down here as the third lowest picked top laner next to Ryze and Lucian. People at all rank literally cannot win a game with Ryze, and they still play him nearly as much as Pantheon. They play Heimerdinger more than Pantheon. In mid lane, he's the 40th highest pick. In total, he can't even get to a 2% pick rate in both of his lanes. Heimerdinger combined in top lane and mid gets played as much. Wait, where's Pantheon? Yeah, Heimerdinger gets played nearly as much between the two as Pantheon. I just don't see his kit being balanced, and if you can't make a balanced kit and he just only gets used as a cheese pick, then at the end of the day, you just got to make the tough call to say, look, he's only getting picked as a cheese pick. He's only getting picked because of top lane cheese and mid lane roams, much like Aurelion Sol was over. Where did I put Aurelion Sol? Here, much like Aurelion Sol, you just got to make the tough call and say, okay, Pantheon, you just don't make it. Poppy, I would say that Poppy would not have made it last year, but here's the thing. Poppy has sort of reached meme status where everyone likes Poppy and people don't even remember that she's a really annoying champion to fight. If people remembered how annoying Poppy was, they would maybe not like her this much. Maybe they would not enjoy her as much, but as for now, because she is so liked and she is so enjoyed, I think that she sort of squirmed her way into, in my opinion, oh wait, I put her in don't make it. There we go. I think Poppy squirmed her way into include because she kind of memed her way into being iconic and everybody always talking about her. Plus she's kind of balanced and she's kind of not that bad and whatever. Pyke makes it. Just straight up, Pyke makes it. He's extraordinarily popular. He's got a lot of one tricks. He's liked. He's not really that frustrating after they did all the rebalancing. At all ranks, he's literally the third highest pick support, despite the fact that people can't play him and do poorly with him. That's the thing. That's what I said. If a champion does bad and people are still picking them, then they just really like the champion. We can see that with Darius at all ranks. Darius at all ranks typically has a 48 to 49% pick rate, and people still like him. You can see on champions like Garen and Set, they probably are picked this much because they're really good. You can see Mord's probably picked that much because he's good, but Darius is like always not that amazing. Like he does decent. 48, 49% is decent, but to be this high and always consistently not even be that good at all ranks, yeah. So Pyke is just, people just like playing Pyke. There's nothing more to say. Kiana, man, Riot puts me in a weird position sometimes because there are champions that are good for the, like, there are champions that are popular and people like that are also just really shitty for the game. I think Kiana is really shitty for the game and we should not include her because she's just so toxic and she's so imbalanced. But on the other hand, I think she's just too liked. The high-ranking Chinese players just love her. She's so popular. But the thing is, like, at all ranks, she's at 23. Even if we go to Plat Plus, I mean, we can see that Kiana, she goes to 18th. Let's go Masters Plus. Kiana goes to 13th highest pick. So, like, she's really hard to balance and all that. I mean, I think for the fairness of the game, I wouldn't include her if she wasn't, like, if she was less popular, I probably wouldn't include her. But the thing is, she's been so popular for so long. They put her in true damage. They've given her so many skins, despite the fact she really hasn't been out for that long. And I just think that she gets included just because she's too popular at this point to not include, which is weird. Quinn, I'm not gonna lie, Quinn doesn't make it. Did anyone expect anything else? Quinn doesn't make it. Quinn does not make it. Terrible champion design, terrible kit, terrible balance, terrible everything. Doesn't belong in the game. Just remove her. Bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye. Rakan? Okay, so here's the thing with Rakan. I was actually surprised by this when I looked this up the other day. Rakan is... am I looking at the right thing? Yeah. Okay, so we go all ranks, and then we find Rakan. Rakan is not popular. There are some people that really like playing Rakan, but he's really not that popular, and his kit is kind of lame and boring and toxic. And the only time he really gets popular is when Riot overtunes him. And I'm gonna be dead honest, I think Rakan just doesn't make it. I think he just doesn't make it. He's just not interesting and unique enough. He kind of just feels like Xayah's sidekick. And I know story-wise that's literally what he's supposed to be, but it's like they literally designed his gameplay around being Xayah's sidekick. That doesn't make him for an interesting character. Normally, at this point in time, in 2022, pretty much every support has some relevancy outside of just being the sidekick for the AD carry. Janna can make her own plays, Nautilus can do his own thing, Pyke can do his own thing, even amongst enchanters, Lulu can do stuff. The only characters that are just true AD carry sidekicks are like Rakan. Even Soraka can run around and heal her team and silence and slow people, right? Rakan, what does he do? He's just the AD carry sidekick. He's just dumb. Okay, I cleaned up this, and there's a bit of a cutoff here earlier that should not be here anymore. So if you didn't see a champion before you got to this mark, that was it. But I shrunk this down, and this should be the last shrinking as we are reaching the last stretch of these champions. So next we have Rammus. Does Rammus make it into League of Legends 2? I'm gonna throw you guys a curveball. No. Sorry, Rammus doesn't make it. His kit is too basic, the champion is too... blech. He's kind of a meme at this point too. All he does is he exists to be a meme. He's the okay, and that's it. They give him a little bit of an update. He's only popular, and this is just my opinion. I think he's only ever popular because he's overpowered. Now that he's not overpowered, he's just not popular. His pick rate is abysmal, and that's even at plat. I mean, if we look at all ranks, he's at 22, and that's, again, it's only because he's overpowered. He's overpowered to the low ranks, which makes him moderately playable. Then you get to the higher ranks like Masters Plus, he disappears entirely. He's hard to balance, he's a meme. I don't think Rammus gets included. Like, I'm sorry to say to all you people who like the Rammus meme, but I just don't think so. Rixai. So as much as you guys want to spam the stupid haha Rixai best girl meme that everyone spams every time because it's so funny, I don't think we add Rixai to League of Legends 2. Her kit is really boring and basic. It's just a cheese jungle one-shot champion. That's it. That's literally all she does. She literally just burrows under you and goes, ha ha ha, now I go for that cheese one-shot. And then she kills you with the E true damage, or goes for the R, and yeah, and that's it. That's all she does. It's boring, and I know she's one of the only monster champions we have, but she just doesn't belong in the game as it is right now. She's just a boring flash and try to one-shot champion. That's just boring, and it's not good for the game. Rel, I don't think we need to explain why Rel gets removed from the game. I think most of you forgot Rel was even a champion, didn't you? Here, quick pop quiz. What is her story? Here, pop quiz. Which is her Q? Which is her W? Which is her E? What's her passive? Yeah, Rel gets gone. She was kind of a mistake. She was supposed to be an anti-tank, anti-shield support, but that just feels weird. She's like an anti-counter pick support? Like, what? I guess she beats Nautilus? That's it? Who makes a champion just to beat up Nautilus? Why would you make a champion just to beat up Nautilus? That's dumb. That's just dumb. Renata Glask. Okay, despite Renata Glask being extremely new, I actually think she gets included in League of Legends 2.0. I'm gonna keep her just Renata. You might have noticed I shortened a lot of these names because this list was starting to get really long, and yeah. So Renata Glask, I think she gets included. Her kit is decently well made. I don't really... They do not have her kit in game. Okay. Her kit isn't really that frustrating to fight. All things considered, not really that bad. Honestly, I think she just gets included. Her revive is a little bit annoying. I'll give you that. I can't defend her revive. It is very frustrating. But I guess it serves a point. I think it would actually be better if the champions died at the end of it, regardless of if they got the kill or not. But, yeah, the way she is now, it's fine. I guess. They could maybe remove the revive for League of Legends 2 and just make it a like, mechanic to keep people alive for a little bit longer. But, you know, it's just not... She's just not threatening in a way. She's not terribly designed. Renekton... I'm gonna be dead honest. I'm gonna say the same thing that Riot probably is thinking. Renekton is a dumb champion. He's so outdated, and he's just not good for the game anymore. A champion whose primary way to be viable is to stun you so the jungler can one-shot you for him is dumb. A champion whose primary gameplay is E onto you, auto reset into Rage W, ignite, and try to one-shot you from full HP until he falls off and then he can't play the game anymore. Probably not a well-designed champion. Just not good for the game, period. Just not good. He doesn't have a player base. Nobody mains Renekton. I mean, Jesus. You'd have to be a goddamn moron to main Renekton. Rengar. As much as it pains me to say, I think Rengar gets included. He's clearly a Riot favorite, the way he constantly gets rebalanced. He just constantly gets rebalanced again and again and again and again and again. I know he's got a balance issue. He's better at the higher ranks than the lower ranks. You go to the super high ranks like Masters Plus, and his pick rate and his win rate start skyrocketing every single time. But I think he's got a lot of people that like playing him. I think he's got a, what do you want to call it? A minor player base of one tricks. I think you could definitely rework him a little bit, make him a bit tankier, a little bit less damaging. A little bit more. I mean, you actually have a pretty decent kit on him to do that too. I think you could adjust him for a little bit and he would be fine in League of Legends 2. He would be. I don't think he's really that bad. I think he'd be fine. Riven, I'm gonna be dead honest with you. I think they need to cut the band-aid with Riven. Cut the band-aid? Rip off the band-aid. I think you don't include Riven in League of Legends 2. Because if you make the balance changes you need to make to stop her from being broken for half of every season, and before you say, oh, but Hashinshin, no, she's now literally the second highest picked top laner with a 53.5 win rate. She's broken. She spends every season, half of the season she's broken. She needs to be constantly buffed and nerfed every season. She's a huge balance issue. If you actually make the changes you need to make, as in, you go back, you remove a lot of her animation canceling, you remove a lot of her jankiness, you make her more fair and safe for everyone, you make her actually able to sit in a balanced state for a reasonable amount of time. If you do that, her player base will throw a bitch fit and stop playing the game. So, in my opinion, rip off the band-aid, just remove her from the game now. The game will honestly end up being better. Remember, the whole point of going to a League of Legends 2.0 would be to remove a lot of these toxic champions, like Riven, like Fiora, like Brand, like Gnar. Remove a lot of these toxic champions and actually make the game better and easier to balance and more fun for everyone. And don't say I'm being biased, because I removed some of my favorite champions too, like Kled, for the same reason as Riven. Because they're janky, they're hard to balance, and yeah, if you're making League 2, why include them? Rumble. Okay, let's be honest with this one. Does anyone think Rumble makes it into League 2? The only reason Rumble gets picked is because he's overpowered. That's literally it. Sorry if you're a Rumble main, that's all he does. He's overpowered, people pick him. He's underpowered, no one gives a shit. He's really outdated. He doesn't fulfill the mech warrior fantasy. If I want to play a mech warrior, if I want to play a mech character, I just play Urgot at this point. I mean, right? Why not? Why would you play Rumble? He doesn't even have, like, his missiles aren't even missiles. They just put a dot on the ground. His taser is literally a taser. If they reworked him to where his flamethrower was like a Gatling gun that like shot the ground in front of him, and his taser was like rockets like they are in his one mech skin, and his ultimate like set down explosives that then blew up or something, or maybe it like targeted the area and then it got like line nuked by rockets and shit, and he was just like this mech warrior battle suit that just ran up and did shit, and I would love that. But the way he is right now is lame, and I think that's pretty easy to tell because nobody likes playing him, and he's just never picked unless he's overpowered. Rise. Does Rise make it? I think for the good of the game, I'm gonna have to make an executive decision, much like I did on Fiora, much like I did on Riven. I think we finally cut this band-aid and we remove Rise. That's my opinion. Let's just finally rip this band-aid off and let's remove Rise. I don't think he's ever going to be balanced. I don't think he's ever going to be fair. He's a balance issue every season, but only amongst the top 0.1% of players. He remains unpickable as hell. I think unless you finally go through and give him a real, honest-to-God rework aimed at lowering his skill cap and lowering his skill floor, you cannot include him. And do we really trust Riot to do that after like 9 failed reworks? Do we really think Riot's going to do it? No. Samira's making it. Samira's fun as hell. She might be frustrating. She might be, well, frustrating to fight, but she's one of the most fun characters in the game to play. She's really not that bad to play against. Like, yeah, her combo kills are annoying, but you've got lots of champions like that. You have Samira, Katarina, Kha'Zix, you have Viego. Like, there's a lot of combo kill champions in the game, so you can't even blame Samira for being one of them at this point. She's got a really fun kid, a really fun personality. I think she basically got screwed over by Riot because they were so intent on, who was they trying? I think it was Yone. They were trying to push Yone out the door so hard, they ended up basically abandoning Samira right after release and not giving her any attention at all. And despite that, she's developed a large player base who like playing Samira because she's actually really fun. Sejuani. This one I'm torn on. Sejuani has so many issues. She's so bad, and yet she could be good. But every time she's good, she turns into a generic competitive pick. I don't really know what to do with Sejuani. She's really good for the game to have it because you kind of want a lower skilled tank jungler that people can play. But the thing is, her kit is just so good for competitive play that she always just gets picked in competitive play. I'm not really sure what to say about her. I think we include her. I think we do. I think we include Sejuani. I'm not sold on the idea yet. I'm gonna have to make my list smaller again. I did not realize there were so many champions in this game. I'm not sold on including her, but I'm not really against including her. And I think we do need tank junglers, and I think removing all the tanks is a bad idea. She's one of the more fun tanks. She's better than Malphite. Senna, I think Senna gets removed. Once again, this is an executive decision here. She is so difficult to balance. She just goes underpowered, overpowered, underpowered, overpowered at the flick of a hat. She gets balanced every other patch. She's overpowered again, even on this patch. She's so hard to balance. She's so hard to balance, it's a waste of time. I feel like she's in every other patch note being buffed or nerfed again. She's a waste of time. Despite being a Riot favorite, despite having a high pick rate, I think we need to cut this band-aid. Again, I know we've had 3 champions practically in a row on this one, but I think we need to cut this band-aid again and say, despite the players liking her, despite the Rioters liking her, the players seemingly only really like her that much because she just always sits overpowered, and Riot always pushes her to overpowered because she's so impossible to balance. I think I wouldn't hate her that much if it wasn't for the fact that they turbo buffed her damage, then gave her a slow. When she was more focused on having longer range but lower damage, I think she was actually more balanced. I think by nerfing her range and buffing her damage, they actually made her way more difficult to balance. There's so many times I'm fighting Senna support and she just starts hitting like a truck because the game went to 30 minutes and I'm like, oh. So now she just does 10 trillion damage and slows me a lot. That's dumb. Whatever. I'm gonna include Set and Seraphine right now. Let's just save us some time. Set is way too popular. Seraphine is way too popular. They're both getting included. Sorry to say, everyone. I know a lot of you guys hate Seraphine, but she's literally, like, Riot is pushing her so hard. She's not even that bad for game balance. In fact, I wouldn't even say she's bad for game balance at all. Riot loves her, and she's not bad for game balance. It really doesn't matter. The community will get over her extremely shady release for a while. Or I guess in a while, and then she'll just be a perfectly fine champion. She gets a lot of hate, and I think she gets a lot of backlash because they did a lot of champions in a row that were really, I'm gonna say, crappily balanced, crappily released. They did Viego, they did Gwen, they did Senna, and I think Seraphine has just sort of eaten all that hate where Riot's champion releases and their cycles were basically only focused on the e-girl and e-boy champions for so long that Seraphine sort of just like, it's like she was a straw that broke the camel's back. And I know she had a lot of shady things on her release, like that whole Twitter thing, but honestly, Seraphine's no more generic than a character like Garen or Zed. So at the end of the day, it's just like, okay, whatever, include her. She's fine. People like her. Her kit's not that difficult to balance either. Seriously, like, she's fine. On to Shaco. Does Shaco get included? I think there's arguments both for and against Shaco. Shaco is unique, and his community really likes him. On the other hand, he's one of the most frustrating champions and the most hated champion, one of the most hated champions in the game. So, I'm gonna put it this way. If I can include Darius because he's really loved, despite the fact that people ban him all the time for hating him, then I'm gonna include Shaco. Yeah. I'm gonna say Shaco gets included. He needs lore. He needs to actually be put into the game's universe. He currently doesn't actually exist as a champion. But realistically, I think Shaco's fine. I think he's fine. He's really annoying to fight, but does he break it? Does he go over the line like Quinn? Probably not. I think he's frustrating, but I don't think he goes over the line. Champions like Quinn, Vayne, Fiora, those champions go way over the line and go way too frustrating to the point where the game would be straight up better with them gone. Would League be a better game with Shaco gone? Sometimes I think so, but I'll give him the benefit of a doubt for now. Shen, I think Shen gets included, despite the fact that he's impossible to balance. Despite the fact that he spends 90% of his existence overpowered. Despite all of that, I think Shen still gets included. He's kind of iconic. He's been in this game forever. A lot of people like him. Everyone knows how to play him. He doesn't break the game. He's not terribly frustrating. He's got mechanics. He's got a kit. He's sort of fun in his own way. I think he's fine. I don't think he goes over the line and breaks the game. I think he's fine. Shyvana, oh god, I'm gonna be dead honest. Shyvana's gone. Sorry, buddy. Maybe if she gets a rework, she can be added back into the game. But as she exists right now, she's one of the most forgettable champions who did not scale at all into League. She's just, it's like what Shyvana used to do, the whole tanky frontliner who just sort of auto-attacked you for % health damage and willed you away while using her W, burn, and stuff like that. That Shyvana is gone, and it's been gone for quite a long time. And so as of right now, the thing is, her kit is just so outdated and the champion is just so outdated, it's just like, why even include her? Seriously, why even bother? Singed, I'm gonna be dead honest, I think Singed gets in. It's frustrating to say, but I think with the removal, not the removal, but I think with Rylai's being toned down a lot, I think with Leandri's being toned down a lot, and not even buildable on him anymore. I think with a lot of his kit being toned down, I think with a lot of the power creep, I don't think he's that bad anymore. So I think he fits in the game. He's frustrating when he's good, but he's not that bad anymore. And there's just been a lot of power creep. It's like, yeah, the most frustrating champion from 5, 6, 7 years ago is not the most frustrating champion from current League. And so for that reason, I think he gets included. He brings a needed, unique playstyle into the game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's a lot more champions I'm making it than not making it right now. Yeah, he's fine. Sion, also, honestly, Sion's fine. Sion gets included. He's nice, he's unique, people like him, people like playing him. Even when tanks can be frustrating and, well, frustrating, people still play him. When tanks are good, people play him. He's just really fun, and people like playing him. There's no reason to not include him. Sivir gone, Skarner gone. It's hard to say. I don't really need a reason for that. They're totally forgettable. Akshan, who I'm also removing, ate Sivir's spice and showed that Sivir is really not that interesting. Skarner might get a rework. For now, he's just dumb. His whole thing is he puts E on you, then ults, then proxy E stun. Then he just ults again. Or not ults again, then he just E's again and stuns you again. His whole thing is to just set up for a 6-second stun. That's it. That's his entire gameplay. That's dumb. That's just dumb. His whole thing is dumb. His kit is dumb. I'm sorry to say, but Skarner keeping the ultimate, that ultimate is just way too strong. You're never going to get a satisfying kit because that champion will never have an interesting enough ultimate. Okay, so Sona and Soraka, I'm actually going to include both of them. Once again, as I said for all these other champions, they sort of just fill that niche of support champions that everyone just sort of plays. Neither of them is really that big of a balance issue. I'd consider removing Sona. Soraka, her issue is the current healing debuff shenanigans, but I'm hoping if they really did make a League of Legends 2.0, I'm hoping that they would address the issue with healing debuffs and rebalance the champions around them. I'm hoping they would. I can't say for sure, but I'm hoping they would. Swain. Oh. I'm gonna cry. It breaks my heart. I would not include Swain. Let me explain my reasoning. In his current state, Swain is not pick support, where he's also bad now. Even if we go to all ranks where he was best, he's a little good, and this is where Swain used to have a 53-54% win rate at all ranks. Now he's the 22nd highest pick support with a 51% win rate. In mid lane, once again, even at all ranks where he should be doing best, he's literally not even getting picked in mid anymore. He can't even get a 5%. A 0.5%. So he's only good at supporting at the low ranks. He falls off so fucking hard by platinum. He's not even that good at the low ranks. They keep trying to rework him. His kit has issues. I don't want to go into all of them right now because it'll take a while, but just the way his kit works, and they would have to remake a lot of it, is that it just has too much counterplay. And if it had less counterplay, then it would be broken. But the fact is, it is too much counterplay, which means the low-ranking people who just let him do his combo over and over, he's overpowered, so they need to nerf him. But then at the high ranks, people who avoid him, he ends up being worthless. The problem with Swain is that in his current state, I cannot justify wasting more time. Like, Kitty, why do you meow like, come here? What are you doing? What are you doing? Kitty. Catnap, so she stops meowing at me. In his current state, I cannot justify adding Swain into the game because you would just need to rework him again. Eventually, I believe he could get another rework, and eventually, I believe he could be added into the game. At his current state, it wouldn't just be like, the thing is, I think Azir, when I said that for Azir, I think it would have been easy enough to rework Azir to get him into a balanced state, but for Swain, I just can't see how you get him into a reasonable balanced state without a lot of work. Swain doesn't get added. Silas. Oh boy, Silas. I don't think Silas gets added. I'm gonna be fair to myself with this one. Even though I like Silas, even though I like playing him, even though I think he has a good gameplay, I think the problem with Silas is that he's always underpowered or overpowered. He has a really hated playstyle. even though he's unique and cool, at the end of the day, his playstyle just ends up being root people over his Q and then they die. I'm going to be fair to what I've tried to keep track of. His whole thing is use the root item over his Q, blow them up over that. They've nerfed his heal so hard, it's not even that big a deal anymore. He's just this janky counter pick to stuff like Malphite. He just, the way they've balanced him and they've had to do so much work on him, at the end of the day, it's just like, save yourself some time and just don't. Syndra, if you made a League of Legends 2, I think Syndra fails. But I don't know, do I add her or not? I'm going to be fair to myself. I don't think Syndra gets added. I'm trying to be like so unbiased that I feel like I'm being biased towards the champions I hate and just including them just to prove how not biased I am. Syndra is dumb. Let's be real with this one. Okay, can we all be fair and real and true to ourselves? She's only viable at the high ranks. Her kit is dumb. Her playstyle is dumb. Everything she does is dumb. The whole thing is that what? She just queues people off the map? Oh, and once again, she's underpowered as shit. Great. Once again, guys, she's underpowered as shit. She barely even gets picked into Masters Plus, so we're going to have to buff her, and then she's going to stat check even harder by just clicking all. She's just been power creep by League. That's the best way to put it. There's too much mobility, so she needs to basically one-shot everyone with a single ability because there's so much mobility. She didn't develop any playstyles like Sion to try to deal with the fact he's got low mobility. She's outdated as hell. She's not interesting. I don't even remember her story at this point. I guess she wanted power, so then she did stuff. I don't know. Does anyone remember Syndra? I don't. Let's just kill her. Let's just get rid of her. Tahm Kench. Let's talk about good old Tommy boy. I love Tahm Kench. I think he's really cool. I think, once again, for the same reason that I've said for so many other champions, I think we need to bench the Kench. Let's be fair on this one. He keeps going from bot lane to top lane to bot lane to top lane to bot lane to top lane because each time he's viable in one of the lanes, the players in that lane complain non-stop until Riot pushes him into the other lane. He's a viable support. Oh, well then he's enabling Varus. And then everyone complains that he's enabling Varus. And then Riot eventually nerfs him until he goes top lane. Oh, now he's top lane? Now everyone complains he's top lane. Now everyone complains until Riot eventually puts him bot lane. And that's all we do. We just keep swapping back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. At the end of the day, look, if he's not finding a good, healthy spot in the meta, and each season we're swapping where he is, maybe we just remove him. Tullia, we're removing. I'm not even going to explain why. Because who? Talon? I feel like I'm on a roll right now. I'm gonna say Talon we should also remove. For how many balance issues he has, for how much bad design he has, he's really not bringing anything into the game. Because, Kitty, because of all the balance issues and all the wackiness and all the stupidity he's doing, he's not really contributing anything. He's not really that fun. Nobody really one-tricks him. He's not interesting. What is he really doing for League? Like, as a champion, what is he bringing to League of Legends that we're all trying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, does anyone like League more because of Talon? There's some champions that bring more into League and I enjoy playing, and then I think of Talon and I'm just like, if you can't survive Talon's burst, you die, and if you can, then he can't kill you, and that's it. What a nice character design. Except not. Taric. I'm on a roll here right now, aren't I? Taric? I'm gonna be dead honest. Taric gets the boot. Why does Taric get the boot? Because he's a meme, and all he's good for is being a meme. He's one of the least popular champions in the entire game. He got nerfed out of his Drain Tank playstyle hard. His Drain Tank playstyle just got nerfed into the ground. I can make my camera a bit bigger here. You guys can see Kitty more. She's being snobby as hell. Yeah, no one tanks anymore to begin with, and then Taric in particular got his Drain Tanking thing nerfed into the ground. He's never been popular in so long. The only thing he really did was enable Master Yi, which he doesn't even do anymore. He's just yeah, they couldn't find a way to make him popular at all. He's one of the least popular champions, period. There's no reason to have him in League 2. Thresh, I think gets added. He's popular enough, in my opinion. Yeah, he's popular enough at this stage with how much power creep is in the game. I would like it if they eventually tone down his stun locking, but the thing is, with damage being as high as it is, it's pretty rare that Thresh gets to stun locking anymore, which sounds really dumb, but the thing is, back in the day when damage was lower, Thresh would just Q into an E, into a Q, into an ult, into a Q, into an E, but nowadays, Kitty got hair in my nose, but nowadays with all the nerfs, with all the buffs to damage, particularly though with, yes, the nerfs to Thresh, you can typically kill people before Thresh gets you in that stun lock bullshit that he used to be so frustrated for. Tristana, I think Tristana gets added. You can't remove every single AD carry in the game for being a generic AD carry. I don't think so. Sometimes you gotta leave in these AD carries, and Tristana is different. She does have, the whole rocket jumping in. She does have the whole rocket jump into explosive shot, into rocket jump. She does have the ult combos, knockbacks, stuff like that. Like, I'm not saying Tristana's the best balanced champion ever. I'm not saying she's the best design champion ever, but for being one of the lower skill champions in the game, I think Tristana's fine. I think she's fine balanced. I think most people like her. I at the very least, I don't hate her being in the game, so I think she's fine. Trundle. Do I include Trundle? I'm going to be honest. In the current state of the game, I think we leave Trundle out of it. There's so much damage. There's so much mobility. There's so little that Trundle can actually do to remain relevant in the game right now. He's just been power creep so badly, and the only thing they've really found to do to try to force him to be relevant is to turbo power creep the amount of damage he does, so he can basically annihilate anyone he touches, and that's not really a healthy gameplay. Bramblevest kind of killed his competitive viability because now he can no longer drain tank and kill tanks on the dive. That used to be his whole thing. He would just go under a turret, ult the tank, and then just kill them from full in a dive. But with Bramblevest, he can't heal enough to do that now. So, yeah, I think we leave Trundle out. Tryndamere we're leaving out too. We're not even gonna meme her out. Man, I really need to keep shrinking this. There's just too many champions in the game, man. So Tryndamere, you get out too. Twisted Fate. I think I leave Twisted Fate out too. Man, I'm really on a roll here, aren't I? I'm really just killing every champion. I think his playstyle is just so dated. I think maybe if you did like a little bit of an update to Twisted Fate, he could be viable, but just the point and click 2-second stun has been such a balance issue for so long. The roaming, the 2-second stun, the spamming wave clear into roaming. He's not, I mean, I could go either way on Twisted Fate. I think there's enough tenacity in the game through runes that you can definitely deal with gold card and you can definitely play around it, but I don't know, I feel like often it just comes down to, on this champion I can beat him, on this champion I can't do anything. Do you know what I mean? Twitch, I think Twitch stays in the game. He's really popular. A lot of people like Twitch. He's just popular. People like playing him. He's somewhat basic, and yet it still feels rewarding. Stealthing around, popping your ult, annihilating entire teams, contaminating, doing the big kabooms. AP Twitch is fun. People like that. The stuff like that. The ultimate into the super, blowing up entire teams with Hurricane and stuff like that. People like Twitch. He's rewarding. He has positioning and stuff like that. Kitty is such a little baby, I swear to God. Yeah, Twitch is fine. Udyr, what do you expect, guys? Unless Udyr's rework is good, but as of right now, as of the balance at present, Udyr is so bad that there's just no way I'm keeping him in the game. There's just no way. Like, right? Does anyone actually think we keep Udyr in? No. I don't even need to explain that one. Urgot. Man, for Urgot, I'm torn, because, like, I don't really hate him that much, but I feel like, much like Alawi, I would end up hating him pretty goddamn quickly if it came down to it. He's really only getting picked at the low ranks because he's a bit overtuned for the low ranks. Once you start getting into, like, Plat, he starts falling off a bit. But I think, honestly, like, once again, I think it's fine. I don't know. I think in an ideal world, you just remove Urgot. He's really not that fun to play. He's really too immobile to make plays. I mean, once again, I know some champions I said you could rework them and make them playable, and some champions I say you can't rework them to make them playable. And this might sound like I'm being overly nitpicky and I'm being overly biased, and yeah, okay, I am. I just don't think Urgot, like in his current state, I just never want to play Urgot. Even if he was overpowered again, I don't think I'd want to play him anymore. Like, I played him for one season, and I just sort of got my fill. I'm like, yeah, I'm good with Urgot right now. I'm good, guys. I've played him the one season. I'm good with him. Varus... Man, how come I'm talking about removing every freaking champion now, man? Yeah, I think Varus is so hard to balance, but he would be so easy to balance if Riot actually did their homework. I'm so torn because I'm being hypocritical here, but I really think Varus would be so easy to rebalance. You really wouldn't need to change much of his kit. He's really, I mean, he's like a unique AD carry. He's like the poke dude, right? His poke isn't so undodgeable to be unfair. I think, honestly, he could be included. I think he could. Yeah. I think so. He's just... His lore is outdated as hell. His quotes are outdated. His art is outdated. But he's still unique. He's still different. Sometimes he kills you really quick. I don't know. I'm torn on him as well. I don't know, man. I could include him or I could not include him. Vayne and Veigar, they're both gone. I'll just do this. Vayne, Veigar, and Vel'Koz, they're all gone. I'm sure you could all understand why. Vayne is one of the most toxic champions to ever be released and should never have been released and should have been reworked out of the game. She makes tanks extremely unfun to play. Veigar, honestly, I would probably keep Veigar instead of Vayne. I actually don't find Veigar that bad. Maybe I would keep Veigar. Honestly, as ridiculous as it sounds, maybe I keep Veigar. I'm not sure. Vel'Koz is definitely gone, though. He doesn't do anything for the game. He's been power creep by mobility creep. He's just one of those jank mages that tries to go into support and use the fact that he doesn't need much gold to win from support. Maybe I keep Veigar in the game. I'm really not... I think we remove him for the health of the game. Yeah. Vex stays... Vex is fine-ish. She's basically Annie, except better made and more up-to-date and more fun. That's it. Vi... Oh, man. I don't know what to say about Vi. The thing with Vi is she's actually really toxic, and a lot of people don't notice it. When Vi is good, she just queues into lane, then ults you, and can do extremely jank over-the-wall ganks or lane ganks or stuff like that, and she's actually super toxic. But on the other hand, lots of champions are toxic. But Vi's particularly toxic. I'm not sure. She's probably good for the game. Plus, punching people's fun. I'll keep Vi in. Plus, okay, to be fair, the Arcane buff. I think every champion in Arcane stays. Viego. Here's my honest opinion. I think Viego gets removed, and I know a lot of you are going to start jerking real hard to this, like, oh, I hate Viego, the Mordekaiser should have been the bad guy, but, like, I feel like his passive is just so poorly designed. He will never be balanced. He's resetting and chain resetting. I mean, he's not as bad as some of these champions like Vayne. Do I have more? Let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So currently we're removing more than we're adding, which I said I was gonna do. But the thing is, I'm about to remove a lot of these motherfuckers. I think of the champions, I'll keep Viego. Tentatively on Riot, maybe doing something like his passive gets a 5-second cooldown, maybe like a 10-second cooldown. It's all funny and all to like chain get resets, but holy shit, it is so impossible to balance, and it makes him so difficult to balance. He's like unique, but not in a good way. His passive is so toxic. Victor, I think Victor gets removed. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say Victor is so poorly balanced that even through the arcane buff, I would still remove him. And that's saying a lot. His whole thing is, I'm useless early game. Then you get to mid game and I can one-shot everyone who doesn't build full MR. Then you get to late game and it's, I can one-shot everyone, period, no matter what. He's not like one-shotting you with skill or mechanics or anything. It's just like he presses Q auto while pressing E, and through pure point and clicks you die. It's so dumb. He's just dumb. He's just a dumb champion. Like, I'm not sure what to say. He's always sort of been in that shitty state. He always abuses certain items. I think honestly, rework him a little bit or something, but like in his current state, even through the arcane buff, I think he just makes League shittier and less fun. He's just not interesting. Vladimir, did anyone think I was going to keep Vladimir? Did any of you honestly think I was going to keep Vladimir? Raise your hand if you thought I was going to keep Vladimir. Nah, he's gone. Vladimir's gone. Volibear, you can stay. I'm not even going to explain Vladimir. Just one of the most toxic champions ever added to the game. Volibear can stay. He's kind of toxic. He's kind of annoying, but he's also fun to play. He's not that toxic to play against. Yeah, he's got some super toxic attributes to him. Yeah, he can be really frustrating, but yeah. Wukong. I think in his current state, I'm going to remove Wukong. He is such a stat check to an insane, he's just such a stat check to an insane degree. He's just too stat checky. I'm sorry. Literally just E, Q, R, Q, W, Q, R, Q. That's it. If he has his ult and ignite, 90% of the champions just can't do anything about it. He's just so toxic. I don't know what to say. He's just so toxic, man. He's just such a stat check. Xayah, I'm going to explain Xayah. I would remove Xayah because she's a short range AD carry, but the thing is, instead of giving her any agency, instead of giving her any ability to actually play for herself, she can only play the game when her team lets her play the game because she's too short range. If anyone gets close to her, she basically just has to instantly ult. So what Riot did to try to balance that out is they pushed her ult to a low cooldown, then they buffed her damage to where she basically one-shots anyone she gets near. But that's not really good balance, that she basically one-shots everyone, or she gets one-shot, or she tries to ult. It's just such bad balance. The only way they tried to make her viable is by just jacking her damage up way beyond what is reasonable. And the thing is, she's still balanced, it's just not fun. They should have given her more mobility, like maybe she keeps movement speed throughout her entire W. Or maybe like if she hits you with her Q, she gets bonus movement speed, or maybe she can run towards champions after hitting them with her Q. Something, giving her some agency, some ability to control the game on her own, not just relying on, well, for Rakan to go CC for her. Like, I get it, she doesn't get any mobility, so Rakan gets all the mobility. So then Rakan CCs people, but does no damage, but oh wait, Xayah does 10 trucks of damage. So but like, it's just dumb. Rakan relies way too much on just being a dumb sidekick, and Xayah relies too much on needing a dumb sidekick. And I get it. That's literally their design. But here's the thing. I could design a piece of shit, and it could be the most realistic piece of shit as possible. It's still a piece of shit. Xayah out. Xerath in. You might be surprised by this one. I actually think for an artillery mage, and in particular an artillery mage that can be played support, he's not actually that toxic. He opens up a new way to play support. He might be frustrating to fight against, but he dies if you reach him. He has multiple ways to keep you away from reaching him. He's got lots of unique abilities and effects. He has lots of counterplay. He only, like, if you dodge his stun, he's pretty wide open, right? I don't think he's that toxic. Honestly, I don't. Xin Zhao or Xin Xiao, I don't know how you, I mean, some people say it's Xin Xiao. I think he's a bit toxic right now. I kind of don't enjoy him, but on the other hand, I think he's fine. I think Xin stays. He's fine. Honestly, he's fine. He might be a bit frustrating, but he's fine. Literally nothing I say or do will make Riot not include the win shitters. So the win shitters are staying in. That's literally my reasoning for it. They're some of the most popular champions in the game, period. They stay in because they're some of the most popular champions in the game. That's it. That's my entire reasoning. End of story. Yorick. I think Yorick could be fun, and I think he could be viable. But I think with how much hyper damage there is in League right now, the only area he stays viable is at the lower ranks. At the higher ranks, he just gets one-shot way too much on the split push all the time. Honest to God, I just don't see a way to make him viable without just making him hyper toxic. I think for the good of the game, he needs to go. And I say that as somebody who actually does kind of enjoy playing Yorick. Yuumi. I'm torn on Yuumi. I think for the good of the game, she should be removed, but for the good of the game, I also think she's good for the game. It is good to have an enchanter who can actually play around bruisers and assassins more easily, who doesn't just get one shot the second the assassin goes in and everyone looks past them. On the other hand, Yuumi is one of the most toxic champions who enables fed champions like Kayn or Talon or any of those assassins to just go completely insane and just take over the entire game with no actual real counterplay. So I'm torn on Yuumi. I don't really know what to say on Yuumi. I think for good game health, she needs to go. Yeah, I think for good game health, she needs to go. At the very least... No, okay, here's the thing. I think Yuumi could stay if they did a balance update. Like, they gave her slightly more health and armor, but they made it so that every time she detached, she had to stay detached for like 2 seconds. So that she had to time it more, and her opponents got more ability to react to it and try to land abilities on her and stuff like that. I think that would be fine. So she couldn't just stay on people and then like detach for a split second, auto, get the shield, go back on, heal. I mean, I'm torn on Yuumi. I honestly think she's really fun. For the people that enjoy playing Yuumi really do enjoy playing Yuumi. I don't know. I think we just be safe and remove her. Zac can stay. I think Zac and Zed can both stay. Zed's a bit toxic, but he's not that bad. Zac is a bit toxic, but he's not that bad. Zed's just a stereotypical e-boy shadow ninja. Sorry, if you guys are gonna make fun of Seraphine, I'm gonna make fun of Garen, Zac, Kayn, Zed all the time. Zac? Did I say Zac? Not Zac. He's just a fucking generic, like, oh, the shadows. I'm a shadow ninja. I do shadow ninja stuff. I'm a shadow ninja. Shadow loyalty is bad. I know, Kitty, right? So Zed can stay, Zack can stay. They both have their frustrating aspects. They both can be really annoying, but I think they both stay. Zeri, I'm gonna be dead honest. I think Zeri can stay. I fucking hate this champion and everything about her. I think she's horribly designed. However, I think 90% of what made her so impossible to balance is they literally, I'll say this to my day, I think they literally did not test the Trinity build on her before releasing her. I think they literally straight up did not test that. And I think because they didn't test that, that's where all the balance issues are coming from. So I think once they work out those kinks and they get that going, I think that she will be way more balanced. And I think they've nerfed her gap closer enough times. I think she'll be fine. I think. Can't promise you. Ziggs can stay too. Look, he's toxic, but once again, every champion in League has their own toxic attributes, right? Like Zack can gap close, then stun you, then kill you from off screen. Great. But you know, Ziggs can poke you down all day, then whack your turret. Great. But that's what they do, and that's their play style. And it's good to have champions with different play styles be viable. You know what I mean? Oh my God, Kitty! What? Kitty. She is such a little attention whore, is she not? So, yeah, I think Ziggs stays. Zillion also. Zillion's one of the most hated champions, I feel, very frequently. I think Zillion stays too. He's fine. Honestly, Zillion's fine. He's really frustrating, but he does his job well. Zoe... Zoe can stay. Look, I think she's really frustrating. I think her balance is bad. And she's way too much of an early game auto win, where she just sort of auto wins the laning phase because she just does way too much damage early game. And then late game, she just tries to one-shot people. Like, I get it. It's not great balance, but at least it's a different play style. It's not something other champions can mimic. It's not, like, you know what I mean? So it's frustrating, but I would include her. Like, I can't remove every champion that frustrates me. And Zyra gets removed. I think everyone expected that. She's forgettable. She has a low play rate. She has a super toxic play style. She's another one of these mage supports who just tries to one-shot you. She doesn't really contribute anything new or unique to the game. They never really went anywhere with her plants playstyle. She can't like set up plants and try to control a zone or anything like that. Her abilities are just too long of a cooldown and jank to make that work. If they went more with the plants playstyle, if they went more with the zone control, I think it could work. But once again, I'm not going to suggest, right, kind of like, oh yeah, they should include that champion, just totally rework her. Yeah. And that is my opinion on every single champion in the game. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was my 125,000 subscribers special episode. You can see the list right here, and let me read through them one last time just so you guys know that. Champions who make it in: Aatrox, Ahri, Akali, Anivia, Ashe, Azir, Bard, Braum, Caitlyn, Camille, Cho'Gath. I'm not gonna read all these, this will take forever. So there you go, there's a list. Thank you all for watching, thank you all for being here. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, give me your feedback on all of this. Do you agree, do you disagree? I don't know, I'm not you. In the meantime, special shout out to all my YouTube members and my Patreon supporters. I'm gonna finish up this video by reading off my Patreon supporters. Special shout out to Monica, Vape Lord Volnir, Fell, Hun Arthur, Philemon Landry, Nathan Mark Tarangoy, Bledzenrock, Crash Pinho, Guardian Lamartz, Josiah Davila, Kokirli, Mao Runner, Nate Cultivator Zyra, Omar Nunez, Aniroy, Destroy, Used Car Salesmang, Death Note and Skrillex, Emiru, Fire Digger, Sophisticated Fart, Melis, Yadgad, Amzarine, Benji, British Mapper, Creador, Daniel Fiala, Daisy Mew, Fanaku, Hentai with Senpai, Naptroll, Noxian Scion, PKZ, Scorpion, Take One, Tomato, Uvu Plaja, WLC League of Legend, Wolfman, Calum Niche, Geb the Square, Kalfos Zaramar. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you, everybody. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye, everybody.